Welcome to another edition of Four Fingers Deep here on Backdoor Radio. I am your host, Giselle Noir. We have a very interesting show for you today since I am the only DJ that you've ever actually heard before. So I have a bunch of new people here with me. We have to my left,
Shady Sadie.
To my right,
No, Rasputin.
to the far right.
YOLO Swaggins, Lord of the Bling.
Now, what we refer to you as YOLO,
YOLO.
or Swaggins.
Either one. I like either.
Either one. But we can leave
we
off
call him
Lord
the
of the Bling.
Can we
I
call-
can leave that off.
Can we call him the Swag Wagon?
No. No
What
swag.
about the Shag Wagon?
Well,
Pussy
no,
wagon.
that's not true.
I was about
I
to
don't
say,
like
let's be accurate.
YOLO Swaggins, you host a lot of parties. You are the party master.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was a master, but yeah, it
You'd like
attracts
to get your
quite,
party on.
it attracts quite a few people.
So what is the weirdest thing that has ever happened at one of your parties?
I know. That's,
I have to think about it. I'm actually kind of curious of Rasputin's thought.
I think it's the shower curtain and the shower.
Yeah, that's a good one. We for some reason someone decided to rip down my shower curtain and shove it in my toilet, like rod and all. I don't know why.
And did you just find it like the next morning? Like,
No, I
you
found it
had to
that night. I was
that
going
night?
through. I went upstairs and there's just sticking out of the toilet.
go- I'm assuming you threw it away? Or did you just like put it back up like it wasn't covered in
Oh,
toilet
God.
water?
I woke up the next morning and it was back up. So I just okay.
Wait, so did you go downstairs and find the fucking curtain rod sticking out?
That was
of the toilet?
upstairs. It was our upstairs.
Oh well, I mean either way, and then just say,
I just left
okay
it.
and leave it.
I left it
Oh
there.
my god, that was disgusting.
I hope you guys didn't need to use the toilet. Go ahead and piss on the shower curtain.
I think what happened is a lot of people were complaining that toilet stopped filling with water, like because so many people were using. I guess it just got tired or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
And so I'm pretty sure someone drunk got pissed off and just threw the curtain in there or something. That's the only explanation I can think of besides guessing this would be funny. They
Yeah.
just did it.
Wow.
And then we have bowling balls into my desk. That did happen. once or
Bowling
twice.
balls or
Well,
a Rasputin?
A
Yeah.
bowling Rasputin.
Yeah.
I may or may not have fallen down a flight of stairs into a desk.
And broken the desk. You were fine, but the desk was not.
Oh.
If this is
I landed on my knees, but the desk
No, that's
was a
fitting.
casualty.
I would say the second weirdest thing, / very awesome, could actually love it. A guy showed up in a full body black Zentai suit, just, with a cane and like white gloves, and just walked around the whole party as that.
Well, the best part was that he showed up and he looked normal.
Yeah, he was. He
Yeah.
was like in a
Yeah.
full fancy gentleman's, like with a monocle and
And
hat and
everything.
everything.
And then he started taking his clothes off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
wearing
started
it and maybe
stripping.
just stripped off.
Well,
and then
so
started dancing inappropriately on
the
people's
moment that he
crotches.
revealed that he was wearing this bodysuit under, he was just standing there normally, and then he took his hat off and he handed it to his friend, and then he reached behind his head and pulled the mask over his face so that his face just disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck?
We're about to fucking die.
It was like some Slenderman shit. And, after that, he proceeded to kind of strip a little bit, a little sexy stripping. And some people were mortified, some people were cheering him on.
I wish I would have witnessed that. I didn't actually see it happen.
I
He
personally
didn't
was
really
cheering
announce
on.
it.
He
just
told
kinda
me he had
started
it.
doing.
He told me he had it, but I didn't see it happen.
I
It was pretty awesome.
That's
though.
amazing.
It was.
I was demanding that people pay him for his services.
A lot of people were creeped out by that. I thought it was hilarious. He's actually the poster child of our Facebook page for the house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so fitting. But such are the tales of
The tales of the Swaggin household.
Yeah. Yeah.
YOLO.
It's gotten to the point where I make the event, and in less than 4 hours, there's 40 plus people on it.
And usually in the situations you're like, hey guys, if I get like 60 plus people to, RSVP that they're coming, I'm gonna get a full K.
I don't even have to do that anymore, and that's just a joke to get people to confirm.
I'm amazed that I don't know what I'm amazed about. I forgot.
God damn.
That's how amazing it was.
Something about cakes, maybe?
The
How many
invites.
people invited?
No, I don't know.
No.
I'm amazed that you haven't had like the cops called or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's.
Fucking lucky.
I mean, it's our parties are loud as shit. But I actually talked to one of the neighbors once, and I was because he was out on his porch smoking whenever we were out there, and so someone was talking to him. So I walked up. I said, "Hey, I want to apologize for all these parties since I actually see you." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "This is like the 8th one we've thrown." He says, "No, this is the first one I've ever noticed." I was like,
Really?
"Oh, all right, that's cool."
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. They seem like they're in their mid to late 20s, and they don't seem like they're in college anymore. But they just kind of are there.
That's
I
cool.
haven't really talked to them, but they seem cool. And the other family next to us, it's just an older couple, and they were nice when I introduced myself 8 months ago when I moved in, but I haven't ever talked to them or seen them since. So I guess they don't care.
They're bad.
And everyone else nearby is
when
college
we were
people.
young and we used to get drunk.
Yeah, because I remember.
Okay, Grandma.
I mean, I loved throwing the parties that I was throwing back in the day,
Yeah.
and then I got a ticket, and that kind of slowed things down.
Yeah.
But then whenever I moved into the townhouse,
Yeah.
I mean, you're sharing walls with people, and we had ex-roommates that lived across the street, and they were really pissed off about
Mhm.
other things, so we had to be very careful.
Yeah.
So
If I ever move, I will eventually move back into an apartment, and I probably won't do parties like that anymore. But the house, I mean, it just muffles so much. The only thing you hear are people outside talking,
Right.
and that usually doesn't bother people too much. It's the music that bothers people, and that house insulates it very well for some reason.
It does. It's actually really awesome that it does that. Because usually when people go to parties,
That's the reason.
Here, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just.
I'm very good about it. I stay on top of the music the whole night, and I gauge the volume based on how many people are in the house, so it doesn't just blast. Most people will crank it, leave it, and just walk away. And that's not how you do it.
So, in future parties, is there anything that you haven't seen yet that you would like to see happen? Or you just want to be surprised by how weird people
so
are?
something that I didn't do, like someone shows up doing it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Like kind of like how the guy that showed up in the full body suit, like nobody knew that was going to happen. It was just kind of unexpected. Like, he might have given you a heads up.
I don't
but,
know, like unexpected. You can't say there's something I hope for it to be there, and it wouldn't be unexpected then.
Right, but
So-
I mean, like.
I mean, I don't know. Like I would have said
You want to see a guy dressed up in a tooth fairy outfit, full on tutu.
that'd be
you know
funny.
What I mean?
Someone showed up in like a random like
Rasputin in a ballerina costume.
yeah,
Oh,
random.
yeah.
Oh, come on.
If someone like came dressed as like some ridiculous anime character like Gary Oak or something from DBZ or something like that, that'd be really funny.
So there were some people there last night that were talking about Animazement and how they were doing cosplay and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I thought-
There were a lot of people. I wanted to go to Animazement, but I can't afford the $60.
You
Like,
and
the party's
me
too
both.
much.
You
I've
and
never
me
been.
both.
I don't know anything about Animazement other than it happens. That's about all I can tell you.
I enjoy anime. I don't know. I've never really had the opportunity to go to like cons or concerts or that kind of thing.
So the first one I ever went to was the Escapist Expo that they had last year, and that is what I would recommend for a starter one. And that was pretty
Well, I mean,
awesome.
like I went
mean
to
first
What the
convention?
Hell Con and I went to Zombie Con or whatever. It was one of the first zombie conventions in Greensboro. It started.
And I mean, I have friends who run a local one each year called the Logicon. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a lot of us getting mind-blowingly drunk, but yes.
I mean, it's not that I don't think I wouldn't enjoy that sort of atmosphere. I guess I don't really have a desire to go to such things because I never really got exposed to it in the first place. So it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I know I have a lot of fun whenever I go to things like BlizzCon. That's always a huge.
That's one of the only
Experience.
conventions I've been to so far.
Yeah, I mean that I've always enjoyed that. I don't think I've ever actually been to any contests either, but I'm always up for it. Especially, like as long as you can find something that you're interested in,
Mhm.
going to, enjoy that for a weekend is generally a good thing. So you'll generally find something that you like. I mean, BlizzCon is all about Blizzard titles, so
Yeah.
that's almost exclusively what I play. So that's always a lot of fun for me.
Well, Rasputin, you were able to actually get a ticket to, is it the DotaCon, the international? It's
Yeah,
coming up
so-
soon?
No shit.
Yeah, so
Oh.
Dota, so
That's
Defense of the
exciting.
Ancients was a custom map for Warcraft 3.
I've never actually ever heard a nerd say the full name before.
Defense of the Ancients?
Yeah, so since then it's spawned a couple other games, namely Han, or Heroes of New Earth, or LOL, which is League of Legends. League of Legends has a huge following at this point, but Dota 2 is the sequel to the guy who made Dota 1. to the game. It's made by the same guy, whereas League and Han are made by other people that have developed for Dota at some point in the past. So
I didn't know that.
they all have some different, some differences in the gameplay. But Dota 2 has been getting a pretty big following recently. Every year they have this big tournament called the International, and it's a $1.6 million tournament. Where the first place takes home $1 million.
What?
And then after that, it's like it drops off drastically after the first place. But
$1 million to the team.
yeah, to the team.
Okay.
It's 5-player teams on each side playing against each other, trying to destroy each other's base, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, I stayed home from work to try and get tickets for the International and couldn't get them. But a buddy of mine got 2 tickets, so he shared one with me. Just so happens I'll be out there for work doing some training. So I'll be, on the weekend, I'll be going to the International for free, essentially.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be pretty sweet. But it's essentially 3 days of, or 5 days of Dota. With the best teams, the best 16 teams from all over the world,
Wow.
all flown in by Valve, which is the maker of Dota 2. And
For the viewers out there, Valve is the company that hosts Steam.
yeah,
Mhm.
along with other games like Counter Strike and Team Fortress and Portal, etc., etc. Half-Life is the big one. So
It's the one everyone will know.
yeah, so. But yeah, they're having a big tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to watch. I know just tournaments recently that they've been having, they've had, a couple 100,000 people tuning in to different streams or the in-game client or something like that. So there's always a pretty sweet tournament going on at some point.
That's true.
So,
I might watch that. When is it?
it's in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome because I know that you really wanted to go, and I knew that you were going to try and get tickets. And I remember reading stuff that like the marketplace for Dota to get the tickets was like something was wrong with it earlier in the morning, and then like people were trying to get their tickets when they finally went on sale, and like it just wasn't working. So some people were able to get the tickets, but then it wasn't actually loading in their cart. So since they sold out so fast, like they totally like got gypped on it.
Yeah,
So
the tickets
people were
sold
upset.
out.
Nerd riot!
Yeah, the tickets sold out within about an hour,
Mhm.
but they would have probably sold out in 5 minutes.
If
It's
it
just
was working
that,
properly.
yeah, there was a lot of issues with the store. So
Mhm.
even though I was online trying to buy the tickets, I couldn't actually get it into my cart. So a friend of mine got all the way through, bought 2 tickets, and I just ended up buying his ticket. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and so the tickets were like $50, so the tickets were $50, but some people bought like 20 tickets
Hmm.
and then went on the marketplace and tried to sell them, and they were selling for like $250, $300 after the original sale. So it's really frustrating to see that type of shit because it's people just trying to make money,
Mhm.
whereas it doesn't really help anybody else but them. It's kind of frustrating, but
What kind of con would we host?
If we hosted one,
Yeah, if we hosted a con, I would love to see that.
I think it would be one of those cons where like it just literally would have a little bit of everything. Like it would just there'd be plenty of dicks first of all.
Of course.
You can't you can never have too many dicks.
Dicks and knitting.
Dicks, video games, computer games,
Now I'm imagining you just
music.
knitting penis koozies.
yeah.
I'm not making any fucking penis posts. People need to stop fucking asking me for this.
Yeah.
Literally, anytime I'm like blah blah blah, I'm knitting something, or I don't know what knitting project I should start next. Somebody's got to chime in with like blah 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 dick cozies.
What if I pay
Depends on how much you're gonna pay me.
$100?
First of all, second of all, okay, that's a lot for a dick cozy, and I might just actually take it
Yeah,
out.
dick cozy
But the
that's like 2
problem
inches
is,
long.
Oh, damn!
because that's the thing is like people are like LOL dick cozy, and I'm like, oh, so you're gonna give me specific measurements about your dick and your ball sack? Really? Are you really gonna do that? Are you really comfortable in me knowing how tiny your dick is? And then they usually shut up and they're
Because
just like,
let's be real, if you were
uh.
requesting a dick cozy, you are overcompensating.
It's interesting
Maybe
because
they just want snuggly balls. I mean,
Snuggly balls. It
Yeah.
sounds
Warm
like a
and
major
snuggly.
TV product with a bad name.
it's the new Snuggie.
it'd be interesting because like if you actually have one of those, and now some people are growers, not showers, so You have to know the full measurement of them, and then like whenever they're not excited, it just be like this cloth thing in their
Yeah.
pants.
It'll just
Exactly.
be sad. That's what it'll be.
I've never heard that term, growers.
Grower, not showers. Yeah.
Or what if they got one for their soft size, and then when they get excited, it's like the Hulk. Like, you know, the Hulk like rips open his shirts, and your dick is just like, I'm ripping off this cozy.
You just leave a hole in the end of it so that it just bursts out.
You know what? Just get like a really cheap quality but soft yarn and make that happen.
That sounds like a very itchy dick.
Itchy dick. That is
Yeah.
Itchy dick.
That is the greatest like term for chlamydia I've ever heard.
I got that itchy dick.
That sounds like a
Is
rap
it
lyric.
chlamydia?
Oh, there we go.
Crap.
I got
Had
the
an
itchy dick.
I'm sure they all itch on some form, some amount.
I bet it'd be one of those rap songs where there's a dance that goes with it.
Oh my god.
But do the itchy dick.
Your roommate has hella itchy dick. The one that I work with, because he'll be at work adjusting himself just in front of everyone all the time.
Christ.
What?
Whatever.
Things I didn't need to know.
He does it constantly. Him and
I would straight up threaten to tase him. Be like, I will beat you senseless if you do that in front of me one more fucking time, you nasty bastard. Oh my god.
Go wash your crotch.
Exactly. Get that shit checked on.
Maybe he has. I actually remember reading about this. Like there are certain, there's certain places in Africa where the belief of witchcraft and voodoo is so high that at one point some guy actually thought that his dick was removed by a witch when it was right there. Like so, he's running around naked, screaming that someone stole his dick. And it's right there, but he literally is just so mentally engrossed that he
they call those
believes.
hallucinogens.
I was about to say, that sounds like
He
He
believes.
ate some poisonous berries.
or better yet, he took a concoction to try and ward it off that had hallucinogens in it.
Yeah.
Probably.
That would make sense.
But he was convinced that his dick was stolen. And so
That's
maybe,
what I need to do.
maybe
Oh god, my dick!
so maybe the person that you work with just kind of worries that his dick is going to run off and he needs to check and make sure it's there at all times.
So I actually read an interesting article today about
About
this guy.
dicks.
No, you're talking about somebody thinking that the dick was gone, so it made me think of this. There was there's a guy who he believes that he is dead. He has this disease where he thinks that he is actually dead.
Really?
Like he thinks that his brain is missing, and that he is 100% dead.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't really understand it. He says that he tried to kill himself with a. He was in a bathtub and put some electrical equipment into the bathtub and tried to kill himself. And he woke up the next day, and he was alive. I mean, he's completely fine, but he thinks that he's dead. So
Wow.
he goes to like psychiatrists and stuff like that, and for some fucking reason, they'll tell him that they'll show him his vitals and all that type of stuff, and he says he can't really explain it, but he feels like he's dead.
That sounds like a great study for neuroanthropology, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like some Oliver Sacks type stuff.
Yeah, apparently there's a full on like
There's a medical
there's a medical condition for it. It might just be based on him, but there's a medical condition for the state in which you believe that you're dead,
How does
but you're
that?
not dead.
Wow.
It's a neurological type of disorder.
That's
It's
not
your-
what my question was going to be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was going to be
How
about
does-
dicks.
You said how.
He's asking
How
about
does
this
that
guy's
affect
dick.
like his the way he communicates with people? Does he just refer to himself in the past tense? Does he is he depressed because he thinks he's dead?
Oh,
Does
yeah,
he put a
he's
sheet
definitely-
over his
he's
head and go,
definitely
"Ooh"?
He's definitely depressed. I don't think that he thinks that he's like a ghost or
Mhm.
anything. Like, it's really hard to explain because
Yeah.
how do you perceive yourself at that point when you think that you're no longer alive?
And does he think that people can't see him, or like?
I have no idea. I didn't
That's
read too much
interesting.
into it, but I thought it was a really interesting article because I was just like, that's fucking weird. Because there's all kinds of different weird, disabilities that you can have. Where, like, one of the ones that I thought was the strangest was the inability to recognize somebody's face. So,
Yeah.
Oliver Sacks has that. That's
Yeah.
why he started neuroanthropology in terms of his career.
yeah, there's some people that just cannot understand somebody's face or remember it. So to them, it almost, like, I've seen almost like pictures of it,
Yeah.
where it just looks like their face is blank.
Yeah.
To that person, that's the way that they see that person.
Oh, wow.
It's not because they can't physically see the features of that person's face, but they don't understand the features of that person's face.
Yeah.
So I've seen a bunch of really interesting stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That also means they don't recognize themselves in a mirror.
Right.
They
Yeah.
look
They
in
don't.
the
They don't
mirror.
recognize anybody by their face.
Yeah.
So.
Like, and it's funny, there's also, basically, this is a legit neurological condition where people with epilepsy who have particularly severe seizures that can't be controlled by medication that well will a lot of times get their corpus callosum cut. That's what keeps the two lobes of your brain together. So basically you will be operating, your two sides of your brain will be operating independently. Now most people get over this pretty well, but one of the side effects from it aren't that common, one of the more common of those is, what is it they call phantom limb syndrome.
Yeah.
Where literally, like, your hand can be punching you in the face and you're trying to restrain your own hand and
I've heard of that.
have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of sitcoms that'll make comedy skits about it. Actually, they'll feature someone with that, and their hand will just like knock shit over, or throw water at someone, or something like that.
Yeah, I saw some cracked article now that I'm talking about brains and shit.
Brains and shit.
Nom nom nom.
It had this really interesting. There were two items in the list that were really interesting. One of them was they've associated. So you know how whenever you're thinking, that you're deep in thought, like you're conversationally talking to somebody, and then you have to think about something, so you kind of look away or you close your eyes and think about it. You know, just people do it. Well, apparently there's a reason. Apparently, whenever you're looking at somebody's face, that takes up a fair amount of hardware in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
That takes up a fair amount of resources for you to comprehend that person's face and to look at it and to understand what's going on. So whenever you close your eyes, you're actually removing that person's face from your memory, essentially, and freeing up resources to think. So it helps you actually think of what you're thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Just like how a computer has a certain amount of processor memory that it can handle.
Yeah.
That it needs in order to be able to handle certain tasks, and how you kind of have to sometimes, if you're running a large program, you kind of have to pick and choose what else you're going to do with when you have that program open.
The interesting thing is very specifically with people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never made that association before, but it's
so if I'm looking at your hand,
yeah, it doesn't really.
I might not need to look away, but if I'm looking at your face.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it next time you're trying to think. I mean, if you in the middle of a conversation and you're talking to somebody, you might, look away, or you might close your eyes or something like that, and that's physically, or that's because of the fact that you are thinking about their face subconsciously. So the other thing that I found was really interesting, how you walk into a room and you go into a room and get something. But when you walk into the room, you're like, fuck, what did I come in here to get?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I came in here to get. And then you walk back to the room you started from, and then you're like, oh, that's what it was. And then you walk back, grab the thing.
The Sims effect.
Yeah. So it's actually, this is actually interesting because it relates virtually too. They've associated memory with thresholds of like doors or windows or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you cross a threshold, your memory almost wipes.
Yeah.
So if we're sitting in this room right now, we try and go to the living room to get something. There's a chance that I will just forget it as soon as I walk through that door, because I'm not actively thinking about it. But as soon as I come back in here, I'll instantly remember it. Some of that's just you recognize the environment, it invokes some kind of thought, and then you remember what you're thinking of. But they've associated that memory loss and gain with a threshold of a room. And that was something I'd never thought about previously. They've also even looked into it virtually with like video games and stuff like that. And they found the very same type of behavior. You don't have to physically walk through a doorway or some kind of threshold, but as soon as your character does it, you also have the same effect.
And that's what I thought was fascinating, was that it translates into that medium as well. Like, it's not just...
Yeah, it's almost like your brain compartmentalizes
Back to the
different information where it's located, and then you just happen to forget it whenever you're not in that that area.
So back to the facial recognition thing. I know, well, not even recognition, like being able to look at somebody and hold a conversation. I know a lot of autistic people have that problem, and here's why. I have this problem too.
You're autistic?
Thank you for mocking me.
I'm just kidding.
Asshole. No, but like when I was a little kid, like the thing is, I would function perfectly normally, but the thing is, I could never look people in the eye. I had the worst problem with that because it's like, in general, when you have any sort of problem where you have sensory overload, that adds to that exponentially. I can't really describe it, but when I'm talking to you, I never am actually looking you in the eye. I'm looking at you right here in the forehead, or I'm looking at your eyebrows, one of the two. And it's something that's funny, I didn't learn how to do that until high school, and I had a teacher who actually understood the problem, who'd seen it before. But a lot of people tend to take that for granted, and they always think that you're shady if you won't look somebody in the eye.
Mhm.
But if you have any sort of sensory or neurological problem, that can be a big deal.
So right now, does it look like I'm looking at you in the eye?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's an easy
Interesting,
illusion.
because I'm looking at the bridge. That's
Yeah.
weird. I didn't
It's
know that
an
actually.
easy illusion to do, but the thing is, you have to desensitize yourself to faces. Generally, it takes a while to learn if you have problems with sensory overload.
I usually look people in the eye, so.
Same here.
I never do, ever.
You can tell I am because my eyes will shift back and forth because I'm looking from
Yeah.
one eye to the other.
No, for me, I'll look at different parts of the face to focus on that are near your eyes. Oh, bless you.
For those of you who can't see me, I just covered everything but my eyes. So.
For those of you who can't see me, I'm about to throw something at him.
YOLO.
Life motto. Take a chill pill, ease off the throttle.
Speaking of YOLO,
God.
have you guys seen more songs by The Lonely Island?
I
Released a couple recently.
saw Diaper Money.
Diaper Money was
love
pretty
that.
good. There's a bunch of them that I've seen.
I haven't
recently.
gone on YouTube much lately. I need to go. I'll probably do that later.
They wrote a song called Semicolons. And it's just an entire song where they use semicolons, but it's actually the wrong usage of semicolon. It's actually the usage of a colon. And so they're like rapping about how, you know, they use semicolons and this is how you use them and like all this type of shit. And then at the end, they're essentially talking to a teacher in an English class. And then the teacher's like, except that's the usage of a colon, you all fail.
Roller skates.
Mr. Yellow Swaggins here has colored
Put 'em on.
contacts.
Piercing blue
Okay, all right.
contacts.
So they are tinted blue, but most people actually can't even tell the difference because I have tested this. I have worn contacts where one was blue and one was clear, and most people didn't tell the difference. They had to sit and stare at my eyes from a foot away to tell the difference.
Why were you wearing like blue contacts?
To test this on purpose.
I was about to say because
Because I have blue eyes.
I was about to say.
My eyes are blue, and they are a decent blue. It's just that, and like, so like sunlight will make them look as blue as they are now, really.
Yeah.
And so really all this does is make them blue all the time.
So what are your colored contacts then?
Bluer. Because I want to stare in the sun 24 hours a day.
No, I'm saying if it doesn't really make a difference, then why do you have?
I mean, it doesn't really make a difference from what they would look like in certain situations naturally.
So it's a shade.
So it makes a difference, and I'm not directly looking into the sun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've always wanted to get like the full eye contacts where you like make your eye black.
Yeah, I can't even wear those because my not pupil, whatever the color around it is called,
Iris.
iris, is shaped weird. So you can obviously tell that I'm wearing something that's not my real eye.
God.
I'm gonna wait until after I get LASIK done, and then I'll look into that. But
Oh no, they're throwing glasses. Ah!
No, I was gonna have you put them on so you could see like what it's like to really be blind.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
are
I've
you
done
guys
that
gonna
plenty
get
of times.
hungry at some point? Because I'm starting to get hungry at some point.
There's nibblies.
I still hate myself from the Baconator.
The half a Baconator.
Shut up.
You didn't even eat
I
the whole
I ate
Baconator.
twice already before that.
Come on, skip
Well,
to
the
it,
problem
princess.
is
Eat
that you ate a burger at Wendy's.
I like Wendy's.
The Wendy's. Well, I eat Wendy's salads a fair amount, but
Uh-huh.
that's just because I'm a giant vagina. But
Ah.
but the burgers are absolutely fucking disgusting in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that.
The chicken sandwiches are fine, but
My thing is,
the burgers are gross.
I could see that.
Wendy's is one of the few burgers I like just because they're very thin. Like I do
They're
not.
not
like,
thin anymore.
Well, it depends on what you get. If you get like a quadruple baconator, then yeah.
Well, no, I guess like
Enjoy your heart attack.
the junior ones are thinner patties, but the normal
I
burgers.
get the dollar menu ones.
Those are thinner. The normal like 1, 2, 3 combos are thicker patties, and they're thicker than they used to be. And as a kid, I remember them being thinner. And I remember they went through right when I got to college. I think they went through this phase of like advertising how their meat is higher quality and they use more of it and use fresher ingredients and all that shit.
And it's square.
Yeah, well, it's always been square.
Right, but I remember
They emphasized
had
that,
the
of course.
campaign. They were like, "LOL, ours isn't a square."
More meat for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
or
like the
something. Yeah, they don't cut corners.
It's like the
That's right.
That
Was the gimmick. You're walking into string. I hope you know that.
She fully plans on eating it.
Oh, kitten!
That's right. You just love me now because you know that I went outside, and you think I will let you outside just because you're loving me.
Why don't you love her?
I do.
Why
love
are you
her.
being abusive? Look at
Oh,
that poor
I'm
face.
sorry. He's not hand feeding her broccoli pieces
That he
like
individually
you two.
broke in.
like you did earlier. Individually broken and then hand fed her.
She needed loving.
You babied
She
the crap out of her.
is
is what you
spoiled
did.
rotten.
She needs it. Look at her.
Oh, Ripley. You're so spoiled. So, I have a question topic.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
have a question.
Do you? That's exciting. So, I don't know if anybody's actually going to want to answer this, but what is the grossest thing that you've ever done? Either intentionally or unintentionally? I'll go first, just to be fair. So, about 2 years ago, I had the flu really bad, and I was working full time. And it was like a 2-week flu. It was absolutely awful. And apparently one night, in a high fever, I made couscous. And I didn't eat it, put the lid on it, set it aside, and then forgot about it. And then a couple weeks later, I went to go clean up my kitchen, and I looked, and it was full with maggots.
Oh,
it
that
was
sucks.
absolutely awful. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. It was literally just a pot full of maggots.
Wow.
And so I was gonna try and just clean it up, put them down the drain or whatever. Maggots are incredibly hard to kill.
Yep.
You can't just smash them and squish them and nothing like that. So I took the pot that it was in, another pot that it was near, and the lids for them, and I just threw them in the trash, walked them out. I didn't even want to deal with it.
I've done that.
I just was like, I can't be playing with maggots for hours, and just throw it away. Unfortunately, they were my best saucepans,
Oh.
so that sucked dick. But I just was like, no, I'll go buy another set of saucepans. I don't need to be dealing with all these maggots right now.
I've had a number of Tupperware casualties for the very same reason.
Yeah, I did that a lot in the dorm just because when you have those little bitty crappy fridges, it's like you pack as much in there as you can and you don't want to have to go back through there. So stuff will get stuck in the back and because you just don't feel like repacking it.
I have several candidates for grossest thing I've ever done.
Oh,
and I
boy.
can't even decide which
Well,
one.
you're YOLO swaggins, so I mean, clearly you experiment.
Let's start with the mildest one.
Okay.
Mildest one would be I didn't really think about the fact that I was eating month-old broccoli. It had been cooked. It had been cooked already. I got it from my parents and brought it back with me. Put it in my fridge. Forgot about it. It was still green when I noticed it was there, and it didn't smell funny and it didn't taste funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I ate it, I just thought about it and was like, "Wait, it's January 16th, and I got this a couple weeks before Christmas."
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh well.
Time to shit out my colon,
YOLO.
ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I actually got a minor. I think I got a minor version of the flu around the same time, so I didn't even notice the effects if it had any. So, yeah, there's that. At the party last night. So,
Oh, God.
our beer pong table, we had the beer pong cups, and I've painted them in neon paint so they glow under the black light, as you guys have noticed. But we always reuse those cups, and we always use water because we don't want beer being spilled. Because people spill that constantly. It's dumb. So, because the balls always end up on the floor as well, dirt and shit and dust gets into those cups, and so we always have to wash them out.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I decided to be a showboatsman a little bit, and I picked the cleanest one I could find, washed it out, and used it as a beer cup.
Oh, God.
threw up when he saw me.
That's
Oh my
disgusting.
gosh.
That's fucking
At least you washed it out. At least
Yeah, he
you
didn't
was like,
care. He was
jerks.
like, "That's disgusting." It was a little weird because the paint was around the rim as well.
So
So
you were eating paint.
I think
You ate
there
your
might
own
be, there might
prostate
be, There might be
cancer.
residue in there a little bit. So
Oh, jeez.
yeah, it kind of sucks. I didn't think about that till later. Um,
YOLO.
yeah.
What about you, Sadie?
That is a good question. I think that really, as somebody who's been very, very obsessed with clean for most of my life, even as a small child, I think the most disgusting things I ever had to do was when I nannied. Because let me tell you something, when you think of disgusting, you think of like mess on the street and whatever. Disgusting is a pair of toddlers. Those little creatures, the only difference between them and the monkey is no one thinks that when a child throws its own shit that it's cute. I mean, they can be sweet little angels of children, but they will be disgusting. Like, I'll never forget, this one time one of the kids was running a fever, and he's running back and forth regardless, because he's 3, he's like a little thing of energy. He runs, he stands right in front of me, he projectile vomits, and it lands.
Jesus.
It lands, I'm not even kidding, about 3 inches from my feet, and he goes, ah, and then he flies back down to the middle of the house. So between cleaning up after that and just like the fact that they have like permanent layers of something sticky on them at all times, I think it has the disgusting things all have to do with taking care of children.
When I was very young,
I think it's the
coffee pot, because it's been 2 hours since we made coffee.
Okay.
When I was very young, like we're talking probably 5 or 6. No, I was probably 6. My little brother was old enough to stand at this point. My parents used to bathe us together, and so I would just have a vague memory of this happening. I was in the bathtub, and I don't know, I'm playing with my toys or what the fuck I had. I don't even remember.
You're playing with
Your toys are your penis.
Yeah, no.
One of those.
I wasn't old enough to get Woodies. Anyway, so I remember a little brother decided that he needed to pee. So he stood up and just started peeing. And he was standing at such a way that there was this large angle. And it happened right at the same time that I turned my head towards him,
Oh no!
straight into my mouth.
Oh! Oh
It
god!
was fucking disgusting. And urine tastes just as horrible as you would imagine it would.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, that was bad. I was so glad I was like so young that I can like justify being a little kid.
So,
It was disgusting.
I just want to comment on your fact that you said you weren't old enough to get Woodies. Because I remember being a child and I was watching, I'm trying to remember what movie it was, but I got a fear boner in the middle of it.
A fear boner?
Yeah, no,
Oh my-
like I've never had a fear boner outside of that one instance, but something happened and it scared the shit out of me and I just became immediately erect as a child. And I remember another time I was watching one of the Batman movies, the one with Catwoman. Like one of the original ones.
Okay.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman?
You mean
I can't
Yellowstone?
remember.
Should be
That
Batman
wasn't
Returns?
Yellowstone.
I believe so. Because it was in the 90s and we were watching on TV. And I think at one point she just starts kissing on Batman in a very, cat-like, sexy way, if that's her thing. And
Ripley looks horrified.
and I got a boner, but I was like 8. I was very young, and I remember, it was my mom. So my family was staying with another family at the time for various reasons, and it was my mom's friend that was in the military with us. So it was this guy, and as soon as the scene happened, I said, "This made my penis hard," and because it never happened to me, I didn't know what was going on, and he lost his shit. He absolutely fucking lost his shit,
Oh my god!
and I was like, okay, and my mom was there and all that type of stuff. I didn't know any better. I didn't know what was going on. I was just more concerned about the fact that my penis was hard.
Did I break it?
But that has nothing to do with disgusting things I've done. But in terms of disgusting things I've done, the one that really stands out to me that like I look back on, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, what was wrong with me? We had we had mouse traps in our house.
Where is this going?
Whenever I was a kid, and we had 2 mouse traps that both caught a mouse one night. Me and my sister thought it would be a good idea to play with the mice after they had been killed. They had been caught by the yeah, but I just think about the amount of germs because we were sitting there playing with them all day. We were home that day or something. My mom was out. I don't know what was actually going on. And we were sitting there playing with these dead mice, hooked. And we didn't take them off of the traps. They were still trapped. But we were touching the dead mice that are fucking.
This was like a serial killer PSA.
Yeah, no, this is like the disgusting shit that ends up being like, oh well, this makes sense. That he blew up some building. Where were they 20 years ago when this shit originally happened? Like, where were the parents? God damn it! Like,
he was playing with a dead mouse. Jesus.
Yeah. So, but we just didn't understand that the mice were fucking gross, and we never played with mice before. And we always wanted to play with mice. So me and my sister, we gave them voices, and we didn't really like play house with them, but they, the 2 mice went on a date, and I mean, but looking back on it, absolutely fucking disgusting. Holy shit, what the fuck was wrong with me? So
it makes me think of
this goes back to what I was saying. Children are fucking disgusting.
I remember when I was like 5 or 6, we had, this is when we were living in Pennsylvania, and we actually had mice in our attic, and my dad, went on up there, and he was going to take care of the mice, and he went up there with a sledgehammer, and I didn't think anything of it. I remember as a child thinking, of like in cartoons when they chase the mice with a giant mallet or whatever, and they're just like, you mice! Grr, I shake my fist at you. And that's what I thought he was honestly doing because, every now and then you'd hear a loud bang and, just people, you could hear them walking or whatever. And, as I got older, I just looked back on it and I was like, that motherfucker was sledgehammering mice in the attic like a fucking crazy man. What the hell is wrong with him? So that's one of my childhood mice stories. That, and so in the summers we would go at least twice a year, usually around Christmas time, and also in summer we would go up and visit, at this point we had moved down to North Carolina, but we would go up and visit our grandmother who still lived in Trenton, New Jersey. And she at one point had mice in...
Someone get your stepfather.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, someone get my dad. Where's my daddy? She actually lived in Crosswicks, which was for a long time right outside of Trenton, so it was kind of in like the wooded areas. Like the neighbors had like huge farms, or would grow crops. And I remember we would always get to like drive down the road and get like fresh string beans, like just from a farmer just up the street, just chilling. And so it's no surprise that at one point she did have some mice in the house, but one of them, they were in the kitchen. And at this point, I was sleeping on a cot outside in the dining room for some reason. I think we had people over, or whatever. Either way, I was all of a sudden. I remember. Actually, no, I was in the bedroom. I was sleeping in the bedroom. My brother was on the cot outside in the dining room. And next thing I know, he wakes me up because he heard weird noises coming from the kitchen, and we thought it was like a ghost or whatever. Like we were all like terrified of like what the fuck is going on. And turns out it was a mouse. And the only thing I remember from that situation was my grandmother at one point throwing a dead mouse out by its tail, just out in the garden area, back in the backyard for the birds or whatever to eat it. So yeah, that's it. Mice stories.
I don't have any mice stories, unfortunately.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement that you have mice stories.
Or is it?
It could be. I do have more gross stories, but I'm not going to share them.
You don't have to.
Not because I don't want to, it's because it's TMI for anyone else.
The only mice stories I have involved the cat I had who passed away several months ago. Throughout like the duration.
What was the cat's name? You gotta tell him the name. because the name is adorable.
The full name?
Yes.
Ichabod.
Ichabod.
Yes. He was named after Ichabod Crane. Just yeah, go ahead.
It was just Ichabod Crane or Ichabod.
Yeah, did he have a middle name?
I don't think he really did. I mean,
I only asked because I gave Ripley a middle name because she
My-
was being Miss Sassy Pants one time, so I said, you know what, your name is now Sassafras. So her full name is Ripley Sassafras.
like, the thing is with Ichabod, like, my mom was in a Harry Potter phase, and she made something up or another, but I was like, no, I will not name my baby that. I love him, you see. But no, that cat, like, he was never the outwardly aggressive type. Like, he would never scratch you or fight you or whatever. He would plot. And he would use the bodies of dead mice to scare the shit out of you, and it was hilarious. I mean, I was never on the receiving end of this because I was his mommy and he loved me. You see, this is why you spoil the shit out of your cat. But, like, my mom, on the other hand, at one point woke up with a warm, dead mouse on her chest and the cat towering over her, just staring at her.
Oh.
That's fucking terrifying.
I'm
That's
like,
sad.
oh, who's the cutest little serial killer? Yes, it's you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Ooh, I have a gross story I can share that's not TMI. You reminded me of it.
Sorry that I sneezed.
So
The sneeze of remembering.
whenever allergies hit me, my nose gets all stuffed up and all that mess and it starts to run. Well, back when I was dating my ex, well, wasn't my ex at the time. Anyway, she was very persistent about
Hold
making.
I think it's assumed when you say that you're dating your ex.
Shut up. There are people who screw with me when I say that anyway.
Okay.
Because some people would be like, why did you redate your ex? That's the dumbest thing you could do. You know that, right? Anyway, so she was very persistent while I had a stuffy nose once about making out with me. So we did. And I'm just like, when you're making out with somebody, you can't breathe unless you breathe through your nose or hold it.
Yeah.
And so I was generally holding my breath and then just taking breaths every little bit. At one point, I think she moved or something and hit me in like the stomach, and it caused me to exhale and came out my nose, and it blew snot all inside her mouth.
Oh!
I felt so bad, and she was like, "It's disgusting, but it's okay. I understand." But I was like, "You know what? I think we're done now."
I swear to God, no, if that ever happened to me, I would have
Well, did
chased
she try
you.
and make out with you after that?
I mean, she went and like rinsed her mouth out, but yeah.
Yeah.
She wanted to make out.
What
somewhere.
a way to kill them.
Dude, okay, if I were in her position, I would have been chasing you around the house with a bottle of Lysol and screaming unclean.
No, that's when you just look at her and so you want to fuck?
And her answer would have been yes. Like
She wanted the
that
D.
was the benefit of that relationship. There was never really
That's
a no.
Swagin' D. B-O-O-D.
I just randomly thought Lord of the Dingling Bling. I don't know why.
I mean, I guess if you
That's-
have
Just 'cause
genital
it
piercings,
rhymes.
That's-
There you go.
then there you go.
Now, what instantly came
That-
to
that,
mind what, for me were like the 60s and 50s, like really white suburban a cappella singers trying to be ghetto. It was a substantially less badass mental image.
Part of the reason I throw these parties is just to meet new people, find connections, that kind of thing. And it's funny because I've started to notice that I'll get a couple stragglers every party who is just this one random person by themselves that came with a friend or something.
Mhm.
It's their first time they've ever been to a party, and they're like, "Dude, this party's awesome." And it's like before the black lights even come on, I'm like, "Dude, it hasn't even started."
Yeah.
But so I'll see
Welcome
them.
to the swaggin' experience.
I'll see them and I'll tell them, I'll get to know them and I'll find them on Facebook and friend them and everything. I'll invite them to the next party. And then they show up with like 6 of their friends and they told all of them, they were like, "You have to come to one of these parties." I love that it's spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
Like herpes.
Yeah.
I will say, so like the party, not the one that you had last night, but the one before that.
Yeah.
It was like too many people.
May
Yeah.
4th.
Well, whatever day it was.
Yeah.
But it was like too many people.
Just because there was so many people everywhere and there were lines to all the bathrooms and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know lines to the bathrooms, but I mean there was lines to the bathroom. I know that, but I mean
He just
I know.
peed on a tree. I mean,
Yeah.
is really what it came
That's
down
what I
to.
did.
I mean I know that just walking, like standing, walking around, you just got bumped into constantly. It It was just there was too many people. But
And a bunch
at
of
this one
hipsters.
last
Some of us
night,
with sensory
last
issues
night was
found it
good.
disconcerting.
Last night was a sweet party. There was a good number of people there, but it wasn't overload.
Yeah.
So that
Although
was
it was really weird because I felt like, I mean, like it did start late, but I also felt like it wrapped up quite early in the evening.
I mean, that happens. It just, people start to get tired because they're lame and dumb.
I think
That's
it's
their
because
thing.
like when it's Saturday, everyone's rested from the end of the week. Like they've gotten their extra sleep. But when you do it on a Friday, it's like they drop by after having been at work for 8
Friday.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was specifically requested for the girl who wanted it for her birthday that it be on Friday, so that's why.
that was
I
her
always do
birthday.
it. Huh?
That was her birthday.
Well, her birthday was actually Thursday, but a friend of hers, who's a mutual friend, left today to go like for her internship for the summer. And so she couldn't make it if I threw it on Saturday. So
okay.
they
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's like her best friend, so.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, she didn't try and set me on fire last night. So.
Yeah, yesterday was a crazy day because I took off work, my main job, because all I do is program there now, so it's not a big deal. I can program from home. And I ran around all day trying to set shit up, and at 5 to 9 I worked at the bar, and as soon as I got off work at 9, I just like started rushing around again to set this party up. I took a shower like while people were coming into the party. I just
That's
in like
awesome.
20 minutes I was just gone. And then I walked out,
Hilarious. You
and there
pulled
was
the
like 10
shower-
people who were like, "There he is!"
Yeah.
Okay, what would have been funny
Fresh
is like
new
if you
shower.
pulled the shower curtain back, there's some dude you don't know taking a piss in your toilet.
Oh no, I locked the door.
Yeah, I remember.
They picked the lock.
I remember getting there last night and then somebody being like, it was either you or I can't remember, being like, "Is the desk okay? Is the doorknob okay?"
Yeah. Because I don't do that then. I only make the jokes like this now. I don't constantly pester about it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty funny. I actually tried to lock the door. For some reason. I just
Yeah,
have this-
you did.
I have this tendency to lock a door behind me.
That's
Just
fair.
I just do that.
That's fair.
And I went to lock the door. I was like, wait, we don't want that.
We still have like half the keg left. 'Cause
Really?
Yeah.
Because
well,
less people.
less people were there, and especially less people who drank. Because when you give it away, people come in. They're like, "Okay, cool, we'll drink beer." When you tell them they're going to charge, they bring their own rather than pay for it.
Yeah, I think you should have been charging for a while now. Honestly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't make money. That's so. I mean, I would
I
offset
mean, just
it,
so
but
that you could break even.
I don't even break even.
Yeah.
This one we were $40 short, and it was a $100 keg.
Cool.
So, and some of the other parties I would have made even less. So, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I don't throw the party for that. I throw it for people to have a good time, and that's how people can have a good time. So that's what I do.
I've definitely dropped like $300 on liquor before. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just for the express purpose of
people to
drinking
drink it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I know what you're saying. And I've never charged anything
Yeah.
for entry into any of my parties. So I know what you're saying. Very
The only reason I charge now is because I didn't buy it. Someone else did.
Yeah.
So.
That's why whenever I brought all that liquor over to your place that for the party you had for me,
Yeah.
that was kind of like my contribution because that was essentially all the liquor that I've been gathering over the years.
Yeah.
So I just brought all of it and gave it to you.
Nice.
Just take it all.
It was great.
I donate all my liquor to Dr. Vice.
Fair warning. My
Amy.
August, my birthday
Yes,
party that I will
same.
throw for myself because I'm egotistical like that. It will be massive, and there will be way too many people there. Fair warning.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because that's kind of what I intend to have.
See if you can rent out your neighbor's house.
Hey, the house across the street's actually for sale, so.
That's awesome.
Let's decrease the property value. Yeah.
Or even if there was
Quick,
like,
someone piss on the trellis.
What I'm actually probably going to do is I'm going to come up with some kind of activity people can do outside, like a cornhole or something that will keep people in the yard too, so
Yeah.
that it.
I was just about to say, like,
Set up
if
some lights or
there was
something.
Yeah,
stuff
put up some-
out in the yard, because you have a nice sized yard,
They do.
but it's just you can't see once you go past
Yeah.
the tiki
I
torch.
got a lot of Christmas lights I could throw up. I won't put fire out there because it could light the tree
No,
on
yeah.
fire.
Yeah,
but
that's a
I'll-
bad idea.
I have lots of lights I can throw
Yeah.
out there. I'll figure out some stuff, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
get it so that it's more spread because that's the main issue at this point.
Yeah, more spread.
More spread.
That makes me hope that you just put random eagles
'Cause-
in the like little stuffed eagles, just to be like, it's
America!
spread,
Yeah, last party
spread eagle.
easily broke 120 people.
What, last night or the
No,
one
the one before that.
The one before. The one where it felt like there'd be
I know, fucking people. Well, the good news is that if the cops ever show up, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I think there's only like one person there who's not 21 that I know of.
Outside of like if your brother comes.
Yeah, well, my brother doesn't come anymore. My brother threw up his stomach lining.
Jesus
What?
Christ.
Well, yeah, because he gets stressed a lot, and so for the past year or two, he's been downing Excedrin like once a day because he gets stress headaches, and so that seriously deteriorated his stomach lining as it
Yeah,
was.
it's really, really bad for you.
Yeah, and then he got really drunk, and threw up his stomach lining. He was in the hospital for like 3 days.
How do you?
At your
like,
party?
what-
Did you do
No.
that?
This is while he was at DC because he's at ECU.
Well, basically,
So it was
Oh, well,
easy.
yeah, they're.
Well, I mean, like, how?
it degrades.
What
when
does
you're
it
slimy.
look?
It looks like just a clump of like fleshy
Flesh?
stuff, kind of. Yeah,
Oh.
and sometimes you can see veins, sometimes you can't.
Oh,
It's
oh.
mostly just it's a weird little clump of just.
So what is there anything?
Did he
you
like
do
put
about
it in
that
a
now, or-
jar and
You
like
have to-
bring it to the hospital and be like, this
They don't
came
put,
out
they
of
don't
my
put it back
stomach?
in. It just has to heal, basically.
No, but I mean, like, did he like bring it in? Like, I don't know what the hell just happened, but this just came out of my stomach.
Yeah.
What is this?
He actually knew what had happened when he saw it.
Really?
He texted me. No, he didn't text me.
I wouldn't
My mom
know.
called me. I was out of town at the time. I was like, I'm visiting. My mom called me and told me the story, and he was like, yeah, he knew immediately what he did. So he went to the student health center, and then they took him. They told me he needs to go to an actual hospital. So he came back to Raleigh, stayed at the hospital for a couple of days.
Yeah, the thing is, whenever you
Now he
approach
doesn't drink.
taking that, doctors warn you. They're like, you cannot, if you're in this combination medicine, you take an over-the-counter pain medicine, and then you drink a lot. That's going to give you one hell of a problem, at least
Yep.
within a few years.
Yep.
So I mean, like, so he just had to just.
They kept him
Go
in the
to the
hospital.
hospital.
I don't know exactly what. I don't know if they may have like given him some stuff that soothed his stomach or something. I don't know the exact procedure that they did to him, but he was in the hospital for 3 days.
I mean, and with that, you just gotta let it heal itself.
Yeah,
It'll
he's
just
not
figure
allowed to
itself out.
drink.
Well, I wouldn't want to drink.
Yeah,
if
He's
yeah,
that
very
fucking
limited.
happened.
He's very limited in what foods he can
Yeah,
eat.
imagine
Yeah.
dietary. There's a fair amount of
No
restrictions.
tomatoes.
So
That's
terrifying.
pretty fucking crazy.
Yep.
Jesus.
yeah, he's doing better now though. That was in January.
I haven't been sick from drinking in a long time. Thank God.
I
I actually got sick. It was like last week. I just woke up in the middle of the night and vomited.
Yeah, I remember waking
Okay,
up because I heard
Nothing
you.
was wrong. I just woke up and I was like, oh shit, and I like got up to go to the bathroom and then just started dry heaving
Yeah.
and just vomited in the toilet. I had no idea what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I remember I woke up because I heard you coughing in the bathroom, and then I fell back to sleep, I guess, before you actually, did your thing. And then I remember waking up this morning being like, are you okay? Like, I heard you coughing. You're like, oh, I vomited. just deadpan, just like, yeah, I woke up and I puked.
Yeah,
It happens.
Whenever I vomit, it's really weird because it sounds like somebody's murdering. I make these god awful noises. It sounds like I'm, somebody's exorcising a demon. I like, in the past, I've actually bust blood vessels in my eye,
Oh my gosh.
in my forehead.
Your forehead.
Yeah, because the pressure in your head, like, at least for me, whenever I get sick, the pressure in my head increases drastically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
I
I'm
can
trying to vomit, and my forehead will actually break out because all my blood vessels will pop in my forehead, so it actually looks like I have really bad acne.
Mhm.
But it's actually just popped blood vessels,
Oof.
and they go away after like a day or two.
Yeah.
But like whenever I busted a blood vessel in my eye, it just made my eye red for like a week.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's how it was for me.
So-
I blacked out and did that. Let's see. The last time I threw up from being heavily drunk was in January, I think. Yeah, I got blackout drunk. I just yelled at everyone that was there. Not even like angrily yelled. Every word that came out of my mouth was screamed into the house. It was ridiculous. I don't remember most of that night.
It's fun. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
My favorite one would be last August. I went to Savannah, Georgia, with a friend of mine who has a cousin who works a bar down there, and so we got free liquor for the whole night.
Oh boy.
And we asked him later, between the two of us, because his girlfriend was our DD, between the two of us, we consumed $1,000 worth of alcohol.
What?
Wow.
We went ham.
Holy
my
shit.
Yeah, it was ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. So much fun. I don't remember most of that night.
I've never in my life, in like my 27 years, actually been hardcore drunk. Ever. I mean, I've been,
Not even in my living room?
No, like I wasn't so much that, but when I drink, I do lose coordination because I have limited coordination as is. But I've never been like straight up hammered ever in my life.
I've never. Apparently I was at the point one time where the girl I was dating had to derobe me, and I woke up naked the next morning. What the fuck happened to me? There's definitely been that, but I mean, most of the time I don't really black out. But then people tell me about shit that I did, and I'm like, I don't remember that. Like walking sideways last night.
So
apparently,
okay.
I was just crab walking everywhere.
I didn't see that.
And I don't remember this at all.
So what had happened it was before you do the Jello shots with everybody. So
Oh wow, that's really early.
he went in to go get another drink, and he comes back, and he just like comes up to me, and he's just like, I just walked sideways for a full minute. And I was like, okay.
I don't remember this at all.
And then throughout the night, he would just like randomly just start walking sideways. Just all of a sudden, I guess he would kind of like lose his balance a little bit, and then he just kind of like walk sideways for a few steps, and then just kind of like walk it off or whatever. And I remember at one point, someone else was just like, "Hey, are you walking sideways?" And he just put his hands on his hips and started doing a hammer dance sideways for like a few seconds.
This wasn't that long before he did the frat boy dance in the middle of your
See, I don't remember that either.
Frat boy dance?
The frat boy dance, it was right before we left. You weren't paying attention to him, and I guess he just wanted your attention, so he just started dancing in your kitchen. And
I remember him dancing in my kitchen. What was the dance? I don't remember.
It was like, you know that stereotypical dance that every frat boy in Guido
You gotta
here
pop
on
it
the
in
West
locker
Coast.
room.
Oh god, that was not that was a white man's
I
pop
wasn't popping in locker room.
no, it wasn't quite.
It was MC Hammer.
Oh, okay.
Just
I got it, yeah.
But apparently, I don't remember that at all. I do remember doing Gangnam Style it was like
It
two
was a
parties
previous-
ago.
They thought the house was going to fucking
Yeah, I
fall
do
down.
remember doing that. And I don't
It was
remember
extreme
being
Gangnam
nearly that, I remember being much more graceful than
It's not
it
just
has
you
been
though.
accounted
Like
to
that
be.
the house is just like that. Like one party.
I feel like I'm gonna squish it every time I run up or down the stairs.
One party, I had Gangnam Style play, and most of the people in the front room were doing it, and I stopped, and I could feel the floor sinking.
Oh my
I
God.
actually felt it move, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is bad."
I like this, like there's that one spot in your bedroom floor. It's like when I step on it, it feels like the floor is sinking.
It had just had a squeaky spot. Really.
I don't know, but I
I
always
think I had a
feel.
squeaky spot.
Dad's
Like-
squeaky spot.
For those who can't see me, I'm all of 135 pounds, so it's kind of disconcerting.
When I find that squeaky spot, every time I like sit there and I rock
And you
on it
squeak
and
it,
make
yeah.
it squeak.
So at one of the
Every
It's
time.
the best.
At one of
man.
the other parties, apparently, I demonstrated how poops on. I don't know how we got on
What the
this
shit?
topic, but I said, so this is how poops on. And
He literally did a grand plie, put his hands on his nipples, and just made extremely weird noises with his tongue coming out of his mouth. Like, it was just, and like,
I
I
don't
wasn't
remember
really
that
paying attention. So I turn around and I look, I'm like, where did he go? And then I look down and notice him doing this weird, like, nipple tweaking, tongue going, crotch dropping. Like, I didn't know what the hell was happening. It
Oh,
was
God.
very concerning.
That's
Oh,
Yeah.
you
But
guys are
hilarious.
glad it was not you.
I got a story from that $1,000 of liquor that I don't remember that had to tell me later. He
that's who you were with.
yeah. So apparently, this is a bar. It's actually a really cool bar. So it's in downtown Savannah, and it's on the second floor above like an art gallery that's open during the day.
Mhm.
And the building by itself it's like the end of the building. So you go upstairs, you go to the bar. It's a bar that's a U, and then there's an open area like where there's a small dance area DJ thing, but it's not like a full club, but it is still kind of dancing and stuff. There's music going, and then the outside of the bar is the balcony all the way around with
Cool.
like lights and shit outside. It's really cool. It's called the Rooftop. Anyway, so we're there. So they've got shit all over the walls and everything. I disappeared from them for a short time. I was probably done with a cigarette with someone or something, and then I came back, and they said I just had this gigantic pair of panties just on my head.
What?
Cute, like not small, cute ones, like fucking giant panties.
Oh,
And
Panties.
not only they were granny panties, just fat people panties.
Okay.
And
Oh my god.
so sees me, and he looked at his girlfriend, and it's just like, has panties on his head. And they're like, oh shit! Looks at his cousin behind the bar. They said, that. And they were pointing at me. He goes, that's a bad idea. Those have been on the wall for like 3 weeks. We have no idea where they came from. So I apparently took them off of the guitar on the wall. And then when they told me you should take those off, I just kind of looked at them and then took them off and just like slingshotted them across the bar under the crowd of people. I have no memory of that at all.
Jesus Christ.
That's pretty funny.
Now I feel like we need to see him completely plastered.
I don't know. It's interesting.
And then we need to like get off of eBay a giant ass pair of panties.
It needs to be in a crazy environment. If I get drunk at a normal like chill party, I'll just sit and like pass out. It's not entertaining. I have to either be in like a club or at one of my parties, but I don't get drunk at my own parties because I like to stay on top of it. If you want to see that, it has to be in like another crazy environment like that. Otherwise, I'm pretty for it.
What am I like when I'm drunk? I have no idea.
Well, I haven't seen you drink. Well, okay.
Well, you've seen
I
me tipsy,
have.
though.
I know that I'm very loud.
But I was
I am
also
too.
drinking at the
Honestly,
You also like to
if you
put
threw another
lampshades on
party
your head.
that was like kind of like the ones you did at that townhouse, I could get drunk there and be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to those. Those are fun.
Yeah, those were fun. We'll see after. So like after the lease runs out this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna end up happening. Yeah, well, we'll see.
I expect.
Yeah. I am getting.
Train that whistle.
I'm getting really hungry.
You know what we should do now? Now we should yell at who develops performance anxiety and can't pee.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's take a break. Kind of get some food. Kind of regroup. Maybe look up some weird things and like news-wise.
To the internet.
So yeah, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Can't find the button. All right, and we're back. We had some pizza, smoked cigarettes, all that good stuff. And
Amazing.
YOLO has a special story for you kids at home about one time when he went to a strip club.
In Savannah.
It's not that.
Let's hope
special.
it's not that built up now.
No, anyway.
Fine. Tell how you made around some hosts.
It wasn't me that was making it rain. We went to a strip club once, and I was in Savannah, Georgia, and it used to be not quite as sketchy as it is now. It was very popular, but like we got there, and there's a big line, and there's this gigantic fucking bouncer dude, and he was checking literally every person in all their pockets for any knives, anything that could be used as a weapon. So that was like red flag number one. Then we walked in there. We were literally the only white people in that entire place. And this place was huge. It was a gigantic strip club, and we were the only white people there. We were like, oh, cray, oh boy. Anyway,
How's it feel now, motherfucker?
so it was still a lot.
So sweet, is it?
It was a lot of fun still, regardless. So we went in, and
Welcome to our corporate.
we go to like the main stage, and it's like a full, like in the middle of the place. You could be on all four sides of the stage. And there was this one guy there who was clearly absolutely plastered, and he was just standing there at the side of the stage, just like tossing ones out of his hand. He had like a stack of what had to be at least 150 ones. Just
Wow.
like singing to the music, not even watching the dancers, just like flinging ones off onto the stage to the beat of the music, and they were going. He was just surrounded in a pile of them. It was
God.
hilarious.
He had a whole pile of bitches.
Yeah, I didn't end up buying a Latin dance because I didn't feel like spending $30, but my friend did. So, I didn't get totally into it, but it was still fun.
Have you been to a lot of strip clubs? Like
No, that was the first and only one.
first and only one.
Mm-hmm.
We've never been to a strip club.
It's interesting. You have to. I don't know. I wasn't even in that mindset that night. I did want to go to a strip club, but not that night. But we went anyway, and it ended up being fun. Especially, what made it a lot of fun was it was all black lights, and it was loud music. It was very like bumping music, and I like the
Bumping
beat.
music.
Yeah, beat
Oh.
something with a beat. Like most hip hop
I just
has.
enjoyed the way you said that. That was so.
I mean, that's
That
what I
was
think when
perfect.
you're just like you want to get your body moving. It's that kind of thing, and it was really
Bumping,
loud and stuff.
bumping.
Yeah, and so it was enjoyable for me because I enjoy that environment.
Mhm.
But I mean, there were black lights everywhere, and it was interesting. But it had in the back, it had like VIP rooms that were blocked by curtains and stuff where people could like sit, and I guess they rented it out or something. It was ridiculous. And then when I left, I had a pocket knife with me, and he took it. And when he said you can get it on your way out, and when I was on my way out, he saw me and pulled out of his pocket like 8 knives. Which one of these is yours?
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Well, speaking of music, because you mentioned bumping music.
Bumping, particularly.
So one question that we've kind of discussed with everybody involved with any of these shows is the topic of how integrated is music into your life. Like, regardless of what type of music you prefer to listen to, but just kind of like, is it one of those things where you have to have it every day? Do you always have to have it when you're driving? That kind of thing. Like, how is music a big part of your life? And if so, just how big is it of your life? Like, how integrated is it?
I would say it's very much integrated in my life and very important to me. But it's not in the same way that most people would say. It's like it's very emotional to me or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even emotionally moved by most music. The exception is, for some reason, piano. I really it hits me for some reason when I listen to piano.
You also play piano too.
Well, yeah, but
that'll have something to do with it.
it might be.
I'm
But
so jealous. I would love to learn how to play piano.
it's so much fun. I love it. And it's
But I have
just
very
free
tiny
time.
hands, so I don't know if I could even reach the keys properly.
I mean, you see people who have small hands who can do it and can't do it. And it's just a level of
Yeah, you generally get around it somehow.
yeah. And I really wanted to learn, so I just kind of bought a 55 key piano.
Like a keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I want to get a full size one now. I'm just bored. But anyway, so I part of the reason I drive with it constantly is because my car is obnoxious. It's the way I bought it. Has that fucking muffler on it. And so I have to drown it out with music. I'll do that. Unfortunately, my radio is the only part that works. The CD player is broken. The auxiliary port is broken. So I have to listen to our shitty radio stations. But actually, talking about that, I've gotten really into like electronic music and stuff like that. And I'm noticing a lot of pop music now is actually incorporating it heavily. So I've in recent year or so, I've started to like pop music a lot, in general for some reason, and it's almost a guilty pleasure, but I just genuinely enjoy it, and I actually download it and put it on my phone. But part of the reason actually that I have not quit smoking is because I enjoy the break, and I will always listen to music when I do smoke, and just sit out there by myself and listen to it at like 3 a.m. Because I feel weird listening to it without something to do as well. So it has become a ritual for me to do that every night. But I don't tend to listen to music when I play games, even like a mindless game like Diablo 3. I don't. I like to be into the game. I don't do that.
It's kind of weird because I've heard that Diablo just in general is a difficult game to play. So for you to call it mindless, I was like, what?
Well, it is very mindless.
For the
but
news.
once you get to the hardest part of the game, you do have to focus. But I mean, the actions that you're doing are somewhat mindless, in that you do them over and over again.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and it's gotten a little better about randomizing some things where you're like, oh shit, I need to do this. You need to pay attention to this. But eventually, you play it enough, you end up running into every scenario. And so once you hit it, you're immediately like, oh, I'll just do this and this and this, and I'm done. So, but
I am the Diablo master.
So I don't listen to music when I play games normally. I'll put it on. It's not needed, but I do put it on sometimes when I'm like cleaning or some other stupid thing like that.
Parties, obviously.
Well, yeah, and that's the big thing.
You obviously put a lot of thought into
I spend a couple hours on every playlist, and it's not random anymore. I actually have a set order that I do them in, and I time it out. I time it out properly. Like, remember when Fresh Prince played? That was intentionally at that moment on purpose at that time of the night. I tried to pick a point where I missed it a little bit because it's hard to estimate that, but I tried to pick a point where it was the peak of the party, so that everyone was there. A lot of people come running inside like, oh, damn it, I missed it! So yeah, I put a lot of effort into that now, and it can be emotional in a way, But for me, it's more of a excitement emotion and not a, I guess, heartfelt emotion. It just gets me happy and moving. I suppose that's why that bumping, that music just gets you moving and gets you, your adrenaline flowing is what I really enjoy.
Excellent.
And so I like every genre of music basically except for country, except for slow country.
So
I like happy country, but not slow country.
So I'm very much the opposite. I hate just about every genre of music except for metal, and even some metal I still hate. I don't understand the draw to certain types of music. To me, certain types of music have very specific purposes. Like I love classical music in addition to, so it's not every type of music, but I can't listen to classical day in and day out. It's generally you need something calming, or if you need a really epic song for some reason, you can find a couple good ones. My favorite song is actually "O Fortuna" by Treloar, which is not a metal song clearly, but it's so epic. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's a little cliche, but it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're listening to "O Fortuna" while you're doing it, it just became the most epic of that version. You could be taking a giant dump, but if you put it in slow,
really,
you play "O Fortuna," that became the most epic dump ever.
There's actually a lot of YouTube videos that's just called epic mixes, and they're like hour, 2 hour, 5 hour, they vary. Long mixes of epic classical or movie type background soundtracks.
I thought you were gonna say something about like epic people taking a dump
no,
during the soundtrack.
And so
it's like, oh jeez.
I do have to take it back. Actually, there is one game I do play with music just because it's in-game soundtrack. It's very repetitive, and that's Eve. The online space game or whatever.
Yeah, the game sucks.
That's what I was just
it's online spreadsheets, whatever. So.
Oh no.
I haven't played it in a while, but when I do,
You said it was on your bed sheets?
In-game spreadsheets.
Oh god, I was like, how do you ever get
Eve, it's on my bed sheet.
So,
I do listen to
I was
those
like,
epic
have you
soundtracks.
ever gotten laid? Holy shit.
So some of the music that I listen to though is very it's a very particular type of music, I would say. I'm really into prog. I love Dream Theater. Dream Theater is my favorite band. Some of their newer stuff is less than spectacular, but some of their older albums like Octavarium or Scenes from a Memory Part 2 are absolutely amazing. I would say Scenes from a Memory is probably my favorite album of all time. I love that album. I also love some classical, not classical metal, but classic metal in terms of like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or things like that. I enjoy that type of stuff, but outside of that, I enjoy like symphonic, power metal, some death metal, like things like Soilwork or Old Scar Symmetry or things like that, where there are clean vocals and not clean vocals. To me, it augments really well.
I do like some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I have noticed that in general, the music that you really like to enjoy to listen to is just epic in nature.
Yeah.
Like you're all about like just epic music in general, specifically in the rock genre.
Yeah, it's the scale of the music that I listen to sometimes is generally very huge. So things like Winter Sun. Winter Sun sounds very, very epic, and there's so many orchestrations going on at the same time. I won't say that S&M is my favorite Metallica album because there's a lot of bad songs on it, but the symphonic mixed with metal, somewhat metal. I guess it was like poppy metal at that point, but that is a very good. Overall, it's a good album. It has a good sound to it. But I mean, in terms of like Metallica, I think they kind of crashed around the time of the Black Album. Nothing was ever the same. So, but mostly the type of music I listen to is like symphonic death metal, things like Opeth. I say my favorite band is Dream Theater. My second favorite band is probably Opeth. And then you have other bands like Soilwork, Solution 45, Nevermore. Nevermore was a great band, and so unfortunately they broke up. But I also enjoy like very technical guitars. So if I hear like some band and they're just doing the same fucking riff over and over again, and they break down in the middle of the song, I'm just tired of it. I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
So I generally listen. I try to listen to music that's somewhat technically guided. I am not a. I can't make any music. I don't have a fucking creative bone in my body. But I love music that is just large in scale. So that's generally the type of music I listen to in terms of how I listen to it. If I'm sitting in my cube at work, I listen to it. If I'm in a car, I listen to it. If there's not something I need to hear, I listen to music. So if I'm playing a video game, if I'm just sitting on my computer, if I'm at work, if I'm in the car, wherever, unless I specifically need to hear somebody talking, I'm generally listening to music. So, which, by the way, I'm using Google Now All Access, which is pretty sweet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's like Spotify meets Pandora. So if you're into that, so I've discovered a couple bands through that. Rediscovered a couple bands I haven't listened to in a couple years, which has been nice. So, but yeah, for the most part, I'm fairly exclusive with the type of music that I like to listen to.
That's
So.
fair.
Understandable.
I definitely am into that genre. The not clean lyrics are usually what ruin something for me.
Agreed. Same here.
Usually, but I can overlook it for certain instances, and they're very just specific and situational. And then, or if it's like a band that mixes them both in, clean and not clean, I can handle that just fine. But then instrumental metal is something I really love. Like when you showed me last year, Angel Vivaldi.
I was going to bring him up because he is fucking amazing.
I've been spreading that around every time I see someone talk about metal.
Yeah, Angel Vivaldi is an amazing.
Just fucking
guitarist.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, other great guitarists would be people like Jeff Loomis, Rusty Cooley. You can get into Rusty Cooley because he's a little. I can see constant sweeps through an entire song being a little obnoxious for some people, but I really dig it. He's pretty good. And again, I'm not speaking technically. I've heard people that are, have degrees in how to play guitar and all this other type of shit, and have done their entire lives. That, they listen to it and they hear something very different than I do. They hear monotony, even though it's very, very fast. They hear, stuff that's boring, stuff that's awful. Whereas to me, it's very interesting. But things like Dragon Force, they sound exactly the same every song. And I've seen them live, and they were absolutely fucking terrible. I'm told that that was just that one tour, but apparently their sound guy was a fucking moron.
Wow,
But
that sucks.
yeah, I generally do not listen to that. But things like Iced Earth, I've seen Iced Earth a couple of times. Symphony X is a very good band.
Yeah.
Some of the more, I don't want to say metalcore, but things like Trivium I get into from time to time. It kind of lines up with Soilwork a little bit, but I don't know. I
Trivium.
Generally things that are, if it has a Swede in it that's making music, I'm generally pretty interested in it. So that's just a general rule of thumb. But sometimes you have things with very deep, like it just sounds like a gorilla on the mic.
Yeah.
And then they have somebody blast beating over the, over all the music, and there's just too much shit going on. Things like Cannibal Corpse and all that type of stuff. That's just way too, like, it's a sensory overload for me. I enjoy very grand, epic music, but there's just so much shit and it's loud. I feel like they're all playing separate from each other. It's just like they're all there on stage playing as hard as they can, and it is fucking terrible. The only band that in terms of like black metal that I really get into is like Dimmu Borgir, because they have or Dimmu Borgir, I can't remember how it's actually pronounced, but the way that they incorporate some of the symphonic elements into their black metal is pretty absurdly good. So
Interesting tidbit. Nicolas Cage's son is in a black metal band.
Well, have you seen him? I
His
mean,
son-
I can totally, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
to me.
I had no idea he even had a son one, but then I heard that and I went and looked it up. And yeah, they're like,
Admittedly, when I picture a son of Nicolas Cage, I picture Nicolas Cage. Now I'm picturing him in this god awful outfit
he looks nothing like the guy.
with his bald spot and everything.
No.
so
He has like really long hair and everything.
yeah. So what is he? What's the name of the band? Do you know?
I don't remember. I can look it up.
Okay.
Do it. Use that technology,
I know,
son.
right?
Jigner, DD.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like with how did you label it? Unclean? Or clean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the growling,
growling.
the screaming.
if I've said this many times, and I'll probably say it a lot more times, but if I really wanted to be screamed at for 5 minutes, I'd just call my mom and piss her off. I mean, it appeals to me in no possible way just to be screamed at for 5 minutes. I mean, I do understand, why people want to integrate the quote unquote like unclean kind of growly sounds, but a lot of times it just sounds forced. It doesn't make sense. It seems out of place. That's not to say that I haven't ever heard it where it does go with the flow of the song, but that's particularly why I don't really care for those sort of vocals in a song, is it seems so out of place in the majority of times that I've heard it.
Now, for me, my thing with metal is I've never really liked it, and I'm one of the only people my age, and I understand why people would enjoy it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when you have serious sensory overload issues, metal is a fucking nightmare. It's terrifying because like the song starts and there's somebody yelling or screaming, and I'm like, if you don't prepare me for that, I could have a mini panic attack. It's like, oh god, I do not handle loud voices that well. Just ends poorly.
Note to self.
Yeah, if you want to scare the shit out of Sadie, try that.
All you have to do is please. Well, what about you, Sadie? What do you? How integrated is it into your life?
It's very, very deeply integrated in my life, but in a different way from most people, I think. Because keep in mind, dear listeners, I do not think I am some special snowflake in this regard. I think there are a lot of people like that, but there aren't enough to where, you can
Do you know anybody?
Not off the internet. But, yeah.
Dim internets.
Oh, yeah. But, for me, it's like when you panic easily. Like, for instance, before I lost most of my hearing,
Mm-hmm.
like, that would, as a child, I would have a panic attack if something too bad would happen. Like, someone would start screaming at me. You would find me in a corner shaking and crying. Like, It was terrible. So I'm like one of the only people that's thankful for losing most of my hearing. But on top of it, the thing is, when you find something that's soothing and rhythmic, it takes the shock away from noises you're not used to when you startle easily.
Yeah.
So, like, in order to get tasks done and whatever, and to not be interrupted, that's like one of my favorite go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
And on a different note, when you do start to lose your hearing, you become almost scared because you know that that's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
You know there's a very, like in my family, congenital deafness is something that is very real. And so, like most of the people, by the time they're very elderly in my family, they are both blind and deaf.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so things like that, it's like you love it all the more because you know it's not always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
So you have to listen to all the music.
All of it! and then... A different genre for a different reason. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of desert blues.
No.
Desert blues is basically Berber artists, particularly Tuareg artists.
Mm-hmm.
For the listeners who don't know, Berbers are the indigenous people of North Africa. They're my respective ethnic group. And the thing is, I haven't heard that spoken since, like, my great-grandmother died. And so it's like, all of a sudden, I hear this music, I'm like, wait a fucking minute.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it's like, it'd be the kind of things well, for one, it's music of rebellion, but even like traditional songs or whatnot, it's the kind of thing that you would be doing in the background with the other people. We all do textiles traditionally, that's what Berber women do. Even like over in this country, that's most of what we've done. Like, you sing or you have a song playing in the background and you rhythmically do it. Like, you knit or you weave rugs, or like my grandma would be quilting, your great-grandmother on the loom and what have you. And so it's very much, it's like recapturing something that's lost. Like, I know I'll never hear that specific dialect of that language again because there are fewer than 300 speakers of it left on Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an endangered language. It's one of the, hello colonization. But, yeah, so
I didn't know that it was that... It was spoken that little nowadays.
It has to do with particularly where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the Spanish and the French together pretty much wiped it out intentionally. And in most North African countries, the thing you have to remember is, until very recently, it was completely illegal to speak a Berber language. What? There are many a story, especially in places like Libya, places with particularly harsh dictatorships, where you would find somebody getting supplies for the family in the marketplace, and they would be arrested, and they would not see their children again until they were getting married. And it was all for that, because that's the thing, you're lower than dirt. That's how it's considered.
Mm.
So it's like, it's really depressing sounding, but it's like, it's the only time I recapture what it was like to feel like familiar. To not feel out of place, because that's the thing, when you're a particularly small minority.
Yeah.
You're never going to feel at home. And especially not in a college area surrounded by, very sweet, mind you, but mostly middle-class white kids. It's very hard to explain to people.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one time, I was just walking around on campus, and we were walking through some of the dorm areas, and it was a group of, I don't remember the exact group, but it was predominantly African Americans, and we walked through, and I remember feeling very, like, just a feeling I'd never felt before.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, I'm Italian, but I'm just classified as white. I mean, there's no, Italians aren't considered even though, you know, back in the day when we migrated over here, we were considered low minorities, but now we're just white people.
Y'all were still lynched in the South in the early 20s.
Yeah. So now we're just white people.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I remember feeling very strange, and my friend was like, oh, you just figured out what it was to be noticed.
Exactly.
To be in a situation where you're not, you know, surrounded by people that are just like you. And it's a very nervous feeling. It's very awkward. Like, you just kind of were just like, I just walking through.
Exactly.
You know, like,
it's like being a child walking through High Point, and there'd be all these people. Now, they were not mean people, mind you, but it was very much kind of an ultimate display of white privilege. These people would walk up to me and my mother. The thing is, my mother is much darker than me, so, and we don't look alike. So they'd be like, that child is a Christian. They put their hands in my fucking hair. Those of you who can't see me, I have a very curly, what I call a half-row. And it's like the top is very much shaped like an afro, but it's long. And they'd put their hands in my hair, and they'd be like, oh, she's so cute, and she's so clean. Exactly, because, you know, obviously this mother who's darker skinned, possibly black, they don't do that. And the thing is that the assumption that the people made when they walked up to me was not at all malicious, but it was still there.
Yeah.
And it still always left within me that feeling, and not just that, many other experiences, left within me that feeling like I'm not like these people. And I've spent my entire life being around that. Like, that's all I've ever known since I was about 6 to 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, music is it's important, and it's something I know I'm going to lose. So I'm taking advantage to the full effect I can now.
I think that's a good way to kind of look at it, just that the acceptance of, I will eventually lose this, so why don't I enjoy it while I have the chance
Unless
now.
there's some small miracle they can replace your ear canal, eardrum, and everything in it.
Yeah.
I know
an ear transplant.
By the time if I live to age 80, I will be completely deaf.
Oh my goodness. So getting back to the music that you were talking about, the music that was indigenous to the Berber community. So essentially, the music is just kind of there to help keep you rhythmically on task.
Yeah.
So you're literally doing your task in rhythm with whatever beat is in the music.
Naturally, it has a lot of other functions like every other ethnic group.
But
it's particularly, it's an important thing when you have to do something like, it's like why we talk and listen to radio shows like this while we're doing things like we are now. Knitting. It makes it faster, it makes it that much more interesting. And on top of that, it's also something that women would be playing while they were getting facial tattoos or whatnot. It was like, when you have a time-intensive, repetitive task, a rhythmic, steady music that's pleasing to the ears
is super good.
Exactly.
Good way to kind of regulate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of things that you know, music that kind of speaks to you on, you know, makes you a little like kind of reaches you on a more emotional level. There are songs. Yeah, it reaches you in the swamp of sorrows. There is some music. Things by like one of the songs is World Dane. It's called Brother, and it's about, you know, his brother. Or there's another song about he has that CD that he has. Can't remember the name of it. I think it's Praises to the War Machine. Is a very so he sings for Nevermore. He sang for Nevermore in Sanctuary. So his voice is very different for the most part, but he has his own solo CD, and he has multiple songs on there that are extremely emotional. And you feel that come through in the music a lot, because it's not, you know, somebody screaming about it, he's singing about it, and the music's really good. Another song like that would be there's a song, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called "Time of My Life" or something along those lines. Either that or that's gonna be. No, that's actually I think it's a Green Day song. Fuck me, Jesus Christ. There's a song.
Oh god.
The song you're thinking of is "Good Riddance."
That
Yep.
Michael Portnoy
Listen to
wrote.
like good riddance, parentheses, time of your life,
Yeah,
and
because
parentheses.
that's what everyone thinks it's called. Time of Your Life.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So there's a song that Michael Portnoy wrote about his dad after his dad passed away, because his dad was, there with him every step of the way through his music career and cared a lot about him. And they shared everything. And when you hear it from his perspective, it's really powerful. So things like that are really good to hear. And it's nice to see things within the metal genre that can capture that.
Yeah.
Whether you're not really going to see that type of stuff in death metal or black metal,
Yeah.
or at least not that I found. I'm sure that somebody does it, but it is nice that there are certain metal bands that have kind of reached into a more emotional standard in terms of
As
some of
opposed
the
to
songs
like
that they
down with the sickness.
Yeah.
Oh god. That's
let the bodies hit the floor. This is not so.
dropping plates. No one still knows what that means. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to mean like records, but that's the closest anyone's ever gotten to explaining it.
Oh my god.
And speaking of the whole black metal death metal thing, I looked it up. Weston Cage is the founder, or was the founder, of a band called Eyes of Noctum. And they were active for 7 years. They split up last year. And according to all the reviews I was looking up to, they're fucking terrible.
Bless their soul.
So,
They're
yeah.
black, untalented little souls.
Yeah. I like that I like it just songs that are emotional in general, regardless of their genre, just because on previous shows we've discussed a lot about how record companies just kind of, some people have called them a necessary evil. I just think they're way too involved in the musical creation and everything actually about, making music and all that good stuff. And it's just, I think when you hear something that is emotional, it sort of reminds you that not everything that is released, like made, produced, released today is completely hollow in what it is. Like there are things that are still an artistic expression, as opposed to, like, I don't know, insert random pop song reference here.
In sync.
Kesha.
Yeah.
Kesha.
Oh
As
god.
opposed to talking about getting drunk and going to a club.
I think the most important thing to note here is the terrible makeup. I love her just for that reason. I look at her like, oh my god, what is that? I like it.
hot mess.
Exactly.
Holla. But yeah, I think that the fact that those emotional releases still exist is just really super awesome. Fun times.
Yeah, like I said, piano triggers that for me. A song that never
I
fails.
thought you said Pinot, as in like Pinot Grigio, and I was like,
P-I-N-O.
YOLO is a wino.
Uh,
Nom 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 nom.
There's a song called Clear de Lune by Claude Debussy. And that's, have you guys ever seen the Ocean's 11 movie? Actually, I hate Ocean's
Yes,
It's been
yes.
a long time.
Okay, the song that plays at the end of it is Clear de Lune.
Oh, wait, is that the, yeah.
I was gonna start singing it.
there are no vocals.
No,
to it.
it's not.
Is that the one that they play whenever they're skipping over the lasers and shit?
No.
Because I remember that.
No.
This
That's
is
not
like the
it.
happy
That's like that
ending.
Spanishy dance thing. That's the one
It's
that's
it's the happy ending, the calm, comforting music.
Yeah. It's literally the end of the movie.
Yeah, what's that song at the end of fucking Donnie Darko?
I've seen that movie. Watch it.
I know what you're talking about.
I did not care for that.
It sounds almost like it's Dave
Mad
Matthews
World.
Band. Yeah, Mad World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Dave Matthews.
I fucking hate Dave
Actually,
Matthews
no.
Band, but that song
No.
is amazing.
That's
That
Matchbox 20.
No.
Wait, what?
No.
No.
Gary Jules cover. I think it's Gary Jules.
It is Gary Jules.
Covered the song Mad World. I cannot remember for the life of me off the top of my head the name of the original artist.
Whoever the fuck it is, that song is amazing. I love that song. I don't really like, as we've discussed, I'm very prejudiced against music outside of the metal genre, but that song is absurd.
Tears for Fears. is the original artist of Mad World.
Oh yeah, Tears from Here. Okay, so I'm not thinking of this. I'm thinking of a different song by the same name.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that song whenever you're talking about songs at the end of movies.
I think you probably wouldn't have gotten it confused with another song if you had seen the movie.
Yeah.
You were like, oh yeah.
Wait, you haven't seen Donnie Darko?
I have not. It's on Netflix. It's on my queue. I need to watch it. I haven't watched it.
That is I mean, some people hate it. I love it. Well, I think the only person I've ever talked to that hated it was.
No, I did not care for it at all.
Okay, well.
I mean, I liked the guy in the rabbit suit. I thought that was interesting, but just in general, I just thought it was incredibly pretentious.
I don't really tend to take well personally to major movies that depict mental illness, because as somebody with them who is not crazy, who does not fit into those stereotypes, as most don't, it's just, it won't annoy most people, and it obviously isn't meant to hurt them per se, but it doesn't change what it does to the rest of us. It just, so movies like Donnie Darko, like a child with severe schizophrenia, a child, I cannot deal with that. Like, sorry to put that on a dark note, but it's a
Darko note.
Shit!
I just thought it was incredibly. It wasn't interesting to me at all when I watched it. I just was like, meh.
That's fair.
And of course, a lot of that was probably just everybody that I was around at the time. It's like, oh my god, it's the best move ever. Best movie. Best movie ever, guys. Oh my god, how could you not have seen this movie? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best movie ever or anything by that means.
Why I hate Dave Matthews Band. It has nothing to do with music. It literally is just in high school every day, all day, every day. Somebody had to just be like, oh my god, guys, Dave Matthews Band's best band ever. We talk about how awesome Dave Matthews Band is. Oh my god, they're totally like coming in April, you guys. Oh my god.
Yeah,
and then as soon as then you would think. Once after a couple weeks after the concert, like, it'd be over. No. Oh, no. Then it was like, oh my god, guys.
Dude.
Do you remember at Dave when they play that one song?
Dude, that
best
concert,
song ever.
that concert like 3 years ago, man, that was the fucking best.
Seriously. It was
No.
awful.
Okay, so funny story. Alright, everyone hates people who hate on Dave Matthews.
You said it was a funny story. I was laughing.
Thank you for saying that. No,
I'm supporting you.
I know. So I knew a lot of people had a lot of hatred towards Dave Matthews just because of that. I mean, I didn't mind
that, and then didn't they dump their bus's bathroom waste on a crowd of people?
Yeah,
or tourists.
I mean, the thing is, I was never a big fan of them per se, but I didn't mind them. This all changed having moved into an apartment complex full of frat boys or former frat boys. Sweet mother of God. It's like we were forced to endure a block party from our leasing company, and these people, number one, they hired a shitty...
These people? What do you mean?
Yeah, how does it feel? No, so they hired this shitty, quote-unquote, folk band, a local folk band. And every other rendition was either a shitty, like, Kenny Chesney song, or it was Dave Matthews. And I was like, by the end of the night, I'm like, I'm going to kill everyone here. I swear to fucking God. This is how serial killers are made.
That reminded me, because you're talking about frat boys and that, it reminded me that you guys have seen that video by Derek Comedy, Bro Rape.
Yeah!
Yes.
And the things they use to lure people in is like a CD of Dave Matthews Band.
And Jack Johnson!
Yeah, no, I can't stand those bands. I think that they're all fucking awful.
I
don't understand the appeal at all. Like, just can't stand them. Like, I didn't always listen to metal music. I listened to rap for a very, very, very long time, and almost exclusively rap. Not even rap that I'm really proud to say that I listen to. Now there is some rap on occasion that I can listen to, and I'm just like, my mind is completely blown by it because it's on a different level entirely. It's not like, yo, my bitches and hoes are riding up 20 posts with some 40s. Like, it's not, it's not like that, because that type of shit drives me nuts.
Oh, funny story. Oh, this isn't even a story. This is just an insert for your story. Everyone bitches and moans about how misogynistic and shit rap is and how this is a reflection on black culture. I'm sitting there thinking, you realize that 80% of that market or more is middle-class white people.
Well, I think misogyny is involved in a lot more than just the rap music of today. I mean...
Oh, it is, but it's like that's the number one go-to. That's like, I mean, number one is black men doing it. Number two, it's like, it's more explicit, but it's the same message as every other fucking song.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree with what you were saying. I was just...
Yeah.
When people tend to just explicitly complain about rap music. I'm just kind of like,
Exactly.
you know, it's other places too.
Have you ever listened to a lot of country music that's like what a good girl is and shit like that? It's really insulting. It's like, oh, I am what passivity deems me to be. Thank you. I'm not an active moral actor. No.
Okay, well, fuck country music. That shit sucks.
Thank you. Amen.
Was that the end of your story? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Oh,
We
God,
interrupted
I'm
you,
sorry.
I'm too sick to really figure out what's going on.
What are you watching?
This is our first poison
What's
attempt on
the-
Rasputin,
Oh.
by the way.
This is what?
Do what now?
Our first poison attempt for our Rasputin, by the way.
Yes.
History joke. Anybody?
Yeah, no.
Delicious
I'm with you.
history joke. Kind of makes me sad he wouldn't go with the name Arsenic Dong.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be named Arsenic.
Poison cock.
I like that one.
There's actually a really awesome song by Turasauce named Rasputin, and it really has almost nothing to do with Rasputin. But they do in the middle of the song just go rah rah Rasputin, and it's like almost like a metal party song, and it's awesome. I love it.
Okay, we're gonna look this
Sounds
up so I can
awesome.
play it sometime. Not here. Like I'm gonna listen to it later. What's it? What's it? by?
Turisas, and then Rasputin.
Got it. I'll look that up later.
So, continuing the music discussion theme, we have previously talked about various different, I guess, situations and like ideal songs. So I know that you guys, I'm kind of springing this on you, and previously when we had these kinds of discussions, we had like, you know, at least a week to kind of think about it. So just,
I'm very much an in the moment kind of person, so whatever.
okay, so we're just gonna roll with it. So, what do you consider to be a perfect, I guess you could call like a love song? In love, not making love, not like
Yeah.
Not like Marvin Gaye.
I was about to say,
Because that's
I
a whole-
have an
that's
answer
the
for
next
this
one.
So we're talking Celine Dion, not Marvin Gaye.
Oh God!
Oh,
Don't
jeez.
you dare!
we're talking about like legitimate love, not sex, because that's a different genre, little subsection. You know, like you know,
They call that rap. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
this is like you know, supple by the fire, you know, planned, sensual love making, as opposed to like you know, let's go into this toll booth and just bang it out real quick.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Delicious.
Because sex with me is hot. I don't really listen to a lot of love music, honestly.
No, I don't know.
Now we're
All
talking.
right,
how
We're
about-
talking.
how about-
Skip, let's go
Well, hey, how about Lavatory Love Machine by Ed Guy?
Jesus.
It's a song about essentially joining the Mile High Club.
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
All right, what do you consider to be an ideal like sex song?
Let's get our fuck on. Well, that's
Yes.
not the name of a song. I was just clarifying.
Yes, that is the.
Honestly,
Let's
something
get it
that's
on.
not.
Let's get it on.
That's good for the build up, but once you're actually into it, I don't want to hear a slow song. It needs to be something that's
Yeah, it's bumping.
no, not bumping. It doesn't need to be bumping.
Humping.
Humping and bumping. Humping and bumping. No, that doesn't work.
Humping and bumping.
Honestly, you know what?
Do the Humpty Hump.
Rock music,
Do the
anger music,
Humpty
metal
Hump.
music.
Do the Humpty Hump.
Just make this one. No, actually, like rock music, or even like poppy rock, or
If you
angry
say
rock,
Nickelback, I will just punch
Not
you right
Nickelback.
in the fucking
That's-
face.
that's not-
I'm pretty
that's
sure
not-
everybody in this room is in agreement. Fuck Nickelback.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Here, here.
But like, it just depends on the. Actually, honestly, it's up to the girl. I can get along to pretty much anything.
You are a very agreeable person.
I am.
Artist.
Yeah, I during sex I exclusively listen to Ice Ice Baby.
Oh,
Stop.
Hammer time.
Elaborate and listen. But
I personally like stop hammer time, but
There was one girl who was really into like the screaming music, rock music, and stuff like that. And so she had a playlist. She actually
that sounds
made
like
for that.
painful sex.
It wasn't. It was really good actually. I enjoyed that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that was interesting. There was
He got
one.
his winky whack.
There was one time.
Whacked out winky.
Fucking what's that band? That
Is there a guy in it?
No, mindless self-indulgence.
Oh,
Yeah, there is a guy in there.
That
Jimmy Aaron.
Yep.
And the bassist, I believe. No, it's the guitarist. The bassist is played by Lindsay something.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw them live one time.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
like this.
It was
that
fucking
was
hysterical. It's great. It's fabulous.
Dream Theater actually. I've done Dream Theater before.
I don't really
Oh
have
my
sex to
God.
music.
That was-
I mean,
I don't mind it. I don't need to not have it.
Yeah.
I don't need to have it. Like I can go completely in the dark. I can go with TV. I can go pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I have a problem where, again, this is sensory and concentration issues. I cannot focus during sex if music is playing. It is an embarrassing, laugh-filled nightmare.
You can't focus on the dick. when
I
you-
cannot. Look, I'm like sitting there.
When
Yeah.
Ice Ice
I'm
Baby
trying-
playing.
I'm trying to get into it, and all of a sudden I hear like some whiny singer or like some random rhythm that does not go into anything I am trying to do. And I'm just like, I am not going to come. That is all this is to it.
Let's see. Breakup song.
As in like what you a breakup song is in what you listen to feel better about a breakup, or what you listen to that you associate with your breakup.
Either one.
I mean, I guess it didn't really matter because either way, I don't emotionally attach myself to music in much
Yeah,
ways like
as
that.
you discussed.
So I usually don't.
Or
have that.
even one that isn't applicable to like your personal situations, but just one where you hear it and you're just like, oh, that's clearly about a breakup.
I did have one that wasn't emotionally attached, but it was. I thought it was kind of funny.
The Pokemon theme song.
There's a. Who's on single? Gotta catch them all.
Oh
No,
my god!
it's a song by a band called Drugs. Destroy.
I like the
Rebu-
lyrics of that song in this context.
What?
I want to be
The very best song no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, and to train them.
To train them is my cause!
Gotta find all versions. Damn. Now I'm just saying.
Now we're thinking about the Pokemon song. We're not even thinking about what we were talking about.
The power that's inside. The power is my penis.
Thank you for that clarification. I had no idea.
It says,
As the background is in
that's
fact
inside Pokemon.
Chikorita.
That's power inside you.
Oh, you should tell the Chikorita Please story.
Oh.
Do you
so-
remember the Chikorita Please? Because it happened while you were drunk.
for the most part, I remember it. So the gist of it is, so I bought a 3DS not too long ago, and when I bought a 3DS, I started asking my friends a very, very important question. One that if you value your friendship with anybody, you need to know the answer to this question, and there are generally 1 to 2 correct answers depending on who you are. One is right out. So, I remember when I was a kid, I played Pokemon Red and Blue. Those are the original versions. Now they have, 18 million different types of Pokemon. And there was originally 151 Pokemon. At the very beginning of the game, you got a choice between 3 Pokemon. The grass Pokemon Bulbasaur, the fire Pokemon Charmander, and the water Pokemon Squirtle. So the question is, which one do you choose? Most people answer Squirtle or Charmander. I personally select Charmander. I played with all 3 of them, but to me, there's no contest. If I had to pick one, and that was it, that was the only Pokemon I got for the rest of the game, it'd be Charmander, because it turns into a fucking dragon. Like, one turns into a big Squirtle or a big turtle with some guns, and the other one turns into a plant. So
That
to
dinosaur
me,
plant.
to me, there's no contest. Now, I have asked this to a number of friends, and I would say probably 90% of people fall within the Charmander or Squirtle area. But every once in a while, you find somebody who picks the grass Pokemon, and then you get to laugh in their face, call them an idiot, and all that type of shit. Well,
It's like the Mean Girls of nerds.
one of these times, there's in the next game, there's Totodile, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. So that would be
Totodile is water, Cyndaquil is fire, and Chikorita is grass.
yeah. So I was talking to one of the guys about the game that they they were playing, and they were playing that version of Pokemon at the time.
And you had been drinking.
And I had been drinking a fair amount. And he was like, well, clearly you picked Chikorita. And I was like, what? Chikorita, please! And that incited a lot of laughter. And then he tried to argue his point, but I was just laughing at him, so...
I think his rebuttal was something about Snivy, and you were just like, Snivy? Snivy? What the fuck?
Yeah, because who picks Snivy? Snivy is the most recent grass Pokemon.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. There's in that one, there's a monkey that's made of fire, and then there's a penguin that is the water Pokemon. And the penguin's pretty sweet, I'll give it that.
He turns into a fucking emperor.
Yeah, but to me,
Dun,
nobody
dun, dun.
really tops Emboar, which is essentially a fire gorilla that Pokemon turns into. So
What about Tepig? Tepig is cute.
He turns into a big turtle with a plant.
Aww.
Tepig?
Oh wait, Tepig. No.
Is it the
I was
fire
thinking.
pig?
Never mind. I was thinking of someone else. Never mind.
In
All I know is that
was it
sounded
Pokemon
adorable.
White?
I haven't played
Black?
Black and White. That's why.
Black? Pokemon Black? Tepig?
Tepig is in so that's the one in Pokemon Black and Pokemon Black 2. Or
Gotcha.
White and White 2 also. But to me, it's no contest. Generally, I will pick the fire Pokemon over every other Pokemon. But at the end of the game, you can go and breed your Pokemon to make other types of Pokemon. So things like I can make a Chikorita, I can make the grass Pokemon of whatever game. And I went to try and trade those to my friends, and I asked him what Pokemon he needed, and he said that he needed the ones that aren't Snivy. And I was like, Chikorita, please. So that's pretty much the end of that discussion. I've seen three other people answer Snivy, and their personalities really match up with that answer. And I'm like, okay, I could actually see that for you, but everybody else makes the right decision.
Yeah, I tend to go for a fire Pokemon. It's my starter
to me, it's all
Pokemon.
about Charmander. So.
Well,
Yeah.
like you said, you picked him mainly because fire's awesome and he turns into a fucking dragon.
He turns into a goddamn dragon.
He turns into a goddamn dragon.
That's your answer too?
Of course.
Okay.
It before I even knew him, that was my answer. He turns
I had
into
a
a fucking
feeling you're going
dragon,
to
no
say some
question.
Venusaur shit, and we're going to be really upset about this.
No. I picked Charmander as well, but for a different reason.
What did you pick him for?
Well, because I actually played through the game as Squirtle first.
Mm.
Just because I was a kid, didn't fucking know anybody.
You probably have Pokemon Blue. We'll excuse it.
I didn't even buy it. It was given to me. So yes, I did have blue, but I wasn't purchasing it. I wanted red because I was like, holy shit, Charizard's on the front of red. Why don't I have that one? Anyway,
You suck, Mom and Dad!
so if you pick Bulbasaur or Squirtle, the first part of the game is goddamn easy mode. It's just because the first gym is rock, weak against water and grass. The second gym is water, weak against grass. The third gym is electric. That's a little different. But so the first part of the game is literally easy mode for you if you pick one of those types. And if you do that, unless you're actively about it, you will coast on that one dude, and that one dude will be super powered, moderately, and then the rest of your team will completely suck.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you hit one of the gyms that you're actually weak against, and he just gets slaughtered because even though he's high level, it's the type matchups make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I actually picked Charmander because it forces you to have a balanced team, and it is a challenge, and I like challenges. So every game, actually, I always end up researching which one would match best at this point. It's very technical for me. I'm very much about having a good matchup and making sure it's a balanced effort.
That's a really interesting. I've never actually heard that before.
Because it sucks to go through that
It
game and hit a
explains-
rock wall.
Why you play Eve?
To me,
Actually, that's a different reason I play Eve. But
Well, yeah, but it's you're a very technical, kind of detailed person.
so to me,
Spreadsheet sheets master.
whenever I'm playing
Bed sheets.
Pokemon, I generally end up
Bed sheets out of spreadsheets.
playing
what?
with one Pokemon out of my entire team.
Hey girl, let me spread
Until
your
it's
sheets.
super high level. It'll be like
my Eve.
5 to 10 levels higher than any other Pokemon I'm fighting. So it's getting shit experience, but I crush everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's good against me, I absolutely destroy it. So that's just the way I play Pokemon.
Yeah.
I tried to change that up a little bit the most recent time that I played through. For the most part, my starting Pokemon is always my highest Pokemon. So.
Yeah. It's funny. In the original games, you couldn't really do this, but now because there's so many different kinds of Pokemon, you can do this. My team ends up being the ones that are just stupidly overpowered. Like, Glaceon is an ice type that you can get. And his special, special attack is so high. So you literally hit anything with an ice type move, because you get a bonus for it being the same type of move. There's an item you can hold that boosts your ice type moves. And his special attack is literally through the goddamn roof. So anything you hit, even if they are higher level than you and strong against you, you will one-shot them.
Wow.
It's insane. I could easily coast through the rest of the game on this one guy if I wanted to, but I have to force myself not to. Yeah.
It's so interesting.
It's ridiculous. That's how my team gets built now, finding the outliers like that.
I think the reason why I haven't really gotten or kept up with the Pokemon thing is it just got so overwhelming when they just started introducing like all these. I mean, they got to understand, from their point of view, why they chose to, really expand on the different types of Pokemon and then the individual different types of Pokemon that you can get. But it's so overwhelming now. Like, just like, how do you catch them all? There's so fucking many Pokemon. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, now there's something like over 600 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't catch
That's
them all.
nice.
I have failed my family.
Oh, God.
I am the only nerd I know.
I can collect cats instead of Pokemans.
I'm the only nerd I know who has never once played Pokemon a day in my life. I know.
Chikorita, please.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think a lot of people who had like siblings, cousins, and whatnot who were Hellions and happened to have things like, if not speech impediments, insisted on mocking them all the fucking time. It got so annoying that you were just completely discouraged from playing it. It's like, I cannot bear to hear this one more goddamn time.
I actually got into it not because I enjoyed it, but because I have a younger brother. And my younger brother got into it. And I started noticing that, my mom would just buy him things. Like, he would just get, like, Pokemon cards or whatever. So I was like, I like Pokemon. Because I was jealous. Because I was like, why does he get free shit and I don't? And so I was like, yeah, I like Pokemon. Pikachu's awesome. What? And then, she started buying my brother and myself Pokemon cards, Pokemon anything. Like, my mom is very cool in that regard of, like, if she knows that you like something, she will go out of her way to make sure that, like, if she sees something that is that type of thing, she'll end up buying it for you, even if it's not an occasion to have a present. Like,
Cool.
Hello Kitty, I still get shit that's Hello Kitty. Yeah, just because she's bought it for me since I was a baby. The Pokemon thing is a good example. More recently, since, my brother and I are, college graduates out the house, she's kind of just, she's gotten really into SpongeBob for some fucking reason. And my brother is very indecisive, so, he doesn't like SpongeBob, but he's kind of like, he's very agreeable. In some regards, he's quite a pain in the ass in others. So, for his 21st birthday, he wouldn't tell my mom what kind of cake he wanted, so she literally made him a SpongeBob cake. Like, she made a normal cake and then decorated it with, like, a SpongeBob accent. And then, like fucking, like, have a beach theme or whatever. And, I mean, like, and even to this day, like, for Easter, his Easter basket was SpongeBob. Not because he likes SpongeBob, but because she likes SpongeBob. So, it's hilarious nowadays, but
That's funny.
It was great as a kid because, like, you'd just be like, yeah, I like Pikachu, so I fucking shit ton of Pikachu shit.
When I was a kid, I had a shit ton of Pikachu shit. I had an entire, like, bookshelf just dedicated to paraphernalia. Pikachu paraphernalia. I had, like, all the toys. I had the one you could talk to that you squished his little
face and his little ears would go, and
his
he's
ears
like,
would go and his teeth lit up.
Yep.
Yeah, I had that.
I think it's in my apartment somewhere.
I had stuff. My sister has all my Pikachu stuff. It's still there.
I still have it somewhere. It's somewhere around here. The Game Boy Color, that was the Pokemon edition, and it came with Pokemon Yellow.
Nice. Yellow was my favorite. And also for that challenge reason, because fucking electricity is not effective at all against rock. You can't do anything.
I remember being incredibly
you start the
frustrated.
game and it's just like in your face.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember being incredibly frustrated about it. Like, oh my god, like I was like, I sucked dick at the first gym. I am a failure.
And then you catch a Pidgey thinking that'll help. No,
No,
fuck that.
fuck
This is a
Pidgey.
bird.
That's
Bird
a
isn't
bird.
shit to rocks.
Have you heard the phrase "two birds with one stone"? Yeah, that happens to you.
Bird. That was a fun day at the zoo. So we all went to, the majority of us went to the zoo. Unfortunately, Sadie was not able to join us.
Sniffle.
But we went, in the process of the zoo, things that happened were Rasputin molested statues and we took pictures of it. And we started calling everything birds, regardless of whether or not it was a bird. It could be a lion, it could be a bear. We didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
It was
fire
a bird.
hydrant. It was a bird.
Bird. So that's what that made me think of. Bird.
Yeah.
Birds.
The 2 6-year-olds we had with us especially took to it a lot quickly.
The 2 6-year-olds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought
Wait
like
a minute,
legitimate
since
children.
They are legitimate children.
I was about to say, since when did they let us motherfuckers anywhere near 6-year-olds? Good God.
I have 6
It
siblings.
is a kitten, meow, 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 meow.
I know they don't let me near 6-year-olds anymore.
Well, that's because you molest statues of monkeys.
We Eiffel Towered a statue together.
That was
Dude, that was a
beautiful.
special bromance moment.
I actually, I need to
Got
learn.
wobbly aged.
Oh, I need to learn to use Photoshop so that I can make a GIF out of the 2 pictures that you had.
Gift magic!
Oh,
Meow,
shit.
meow,
Oh, there's
meow.
my ring.
Kitten, what are you doing? Can I leave my pattern, baby? Cat's like, fuck your pet.
My roommate came home from over the break. From his Myrtle Beach vacation, whatever.
That's a
And-
break.
Yeah, I mean he has a full-time job now, so whatever, I guess it is. But anyway, he said he was playing D3 over it, and Diablo 3, and
Not Dig 3.
He got to a new difficulty level, and he did what's called a key run, and there are 10 difficulty levels. And as you go up in difficulty level, your percentage of the key actually dropping goes up by 10%.
Mhm.
So he's at 70%, and he does it naturally. He doesn't get it, and so he was just he made the joke that RNG said "fuck you." RNG stands for random number generator. And so when he said this, and I don't randomly thought of this story, but he said this, and I thought of those toys you had as a kid where you pulled the lever and it spun around and then it
Yeah.
pointed at an animal and said like the cow says meow.
Yeah.
I thought of sticking one in there and just said the RNG says fuck you.
That would be awesome.
No.
You could make an entire fuck you wheel of just like, you could literally just have like the cow says fuck you. The chikorita says please. Uh-oh. I think Rasputin's falling asleep.
Not feeling too good.
That's fair.
He's a sleepy man.
Are you here pestering me now?
Oh.
Not really pestering me, I suppose, but
She's like, just so you know, I don't actually like you.
The kitty says, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Hi.
Suck my dick, Uncle Dale.
Are you saying anything or just like...
Well, I was gonna say, what about music? What song is kind of like a go-to for when like you need to like wake up, like you're really sleepy, you really need like some bumping music, as you would suggest,
Bumping.
bumping music, just to kind of get you going, get you hyped, get you motivated to kind of face whatever you have ahead of you.
for me, it's like I said, I've gotten into electronic music a lot,
Mhm.
so it has to be something that's very heavy, pretty fast paced, and it's just like for people who like that music, you just want to go fucking nuts and
Yeah.
like just flail everywhere and just throw your head around, head bang,
Have a little seizure.
jump up and down, that kind of stuff.
Like you're one ecstasy tablet short of a failed liver.
Actually, if you watch me in the middle of the night, if anyone could actually see me, I'm on my porch. I will be up there like just dancing.
Oh
So,
God! Why have I never stepped out there when you were smoking?
Oh no, not when anyone's around. It's
Oh,
literally
God,
like
yeah.
3 or 4 a.m. when no one's up.
You're just dancing
I have my
around.
headphones on. I'm just up there.
I'm like, I look
That's
forward
awesome.
to the day one of your neighbors who does not know who you are just looks over and sees this like 3 or 4 in the morning.
The guys next door probably have because they smoke too, so they're out there sometimes, and I'll be doing it when I'm not really.
Just like some random nice old middle-aged lady.
Oh God, I'm really worried. YOLO Swagons is Gundam style again. Oh dear.
Actually, real quick funny story. Friends of mine, I guess I should tell you this, it was a surprise, but whatever. Friends of mine were talking about, one of them is some of those hipster guys you were talking about.
Okay, yeah.
They happen to be mutual friends. But anyway,
The ones that concerned me at the last party.
well, one of them, he's not really concerning. He's just, it just so happens that him, a mutual friend that I know through another guy, they happen to live together. And he's a coworker too, but
I mean, I'm sure that they're all really nice people, but when you're at a party and all of a sudden that much flannel walks into the room,
Oh god.
it kind of makes you go, what?
I don't know. I guess I'm not
Are
really.
are we gonna
Can we sing Yay Canada now?
talk about some fixies? Just saying.
Anyway, we wanna.
And I'm not that judgmental. I'm just saying, when you see that much flannel, you kind of begin to wonder what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
I'm not judgmental like, oh, these goddamn hipsters. What the fuck are they doing? They might not even be hipsters. They might be lumberjacks. You don't know. YOLO.
Lumberjack Americans.
I guess I can't say I had that thought when a bunch of people wearing flannel walked in. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, when you're used to looking at the normal attire that you see at your parties, and then, as a sober individual, because I'm usually the DD, you just see that much, you're just like, where did all the flannel come from? Like, did I miss the memo? Was this like a flannel party? Like,
that's fair.
That kind of thing.
Well, anyway, so what we want to do is get like 4 or 5 of us. They were talking about it and they got me in, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm totally down for this. We want to all come to the party as normal, but then have underneath our clothing matching like outfits of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And some song comes on. We haven't even picked it. We haven't even thought into it past this idea.
Yeah.
Some song comes on, and we all just like do one of those improv things where like just out of nowhere we just start like this choreographed dance sequence thing. And just do it,
Yes.
and they'd be fucking amazing.
That is
Oh my
amazing.
God.
So we want to do this, and I'm thinking it might be good since like it'll be 2 months for the next party. We can
Mhm.
actually practice over the summer or something.
As long as it's not like something awkward, like, you're all wearing, G-string thongs, and then the thong song
Christ.
comes on, and
Well,
you're
see,
just shaking
sexy,
it.
and I know it would be funny, but that's kind of old too. So, but
No,
we
I mean,
haven't
like,
even thought about
the
it.
G-string thongs, like booties out in the open.
We ain't even talking about banana hammocks
Booty,
here.
booty, booty, rocking everywhere, kind of thing.
Actually,
Well, seeing as they are men, they will not have booty booty at all.
anybody who knows me and spends a lot of time with me, I randomly will just out of nowhere just like come into a room and be like booty, 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 rocking everywhere, just nonstop. My roommate was like, I actually didn't know that was a song until you started just randomly saying it every time I see it. It's literally like if I have nothing else to say and I feel like saying something, I just say that.
Oh my
And
god.
so everyone at work knows it. Everyone in the house knows it. It's just hilarious. But
I'm actually really glad that you were able to make it tonight, because I know previously when we've all tried to hang out, you're like, nope, I got stuff.
They're not
Or-
cool enough for me.
I mean, it happens.
It does, but I was just glad that you actually came out tonight.
Especially because of these parties, I've made a lot of new friends that are really cool, and that was the point of starting them. When I originally threw a party back in September, that was
So
supposed
we're
to
not
be
new
open.
or cool friends.
You are.
God
No,
damn.
that's not that. It's just, and they've been turned down too. You're not the only ones. I turned down a lot of people because I'm like, I already have plans tonight. I'm sorry. It seriously has gotten to the point where everyone's like, Dale, we should do something tonight. I'm like, I'm already doing something with someone else
No
tonight.
wonder our Rift Tracks extravaganza once a week always gets pushed back.
Oh, it's not that it gets pushed back. It's
It
actually
gets pushed
actually,
back.
Normally,
Cancel.
normally when that happens, it's actually something important that I can't move. It's not hanging out with people. It's something else.
Dicks.
Anyway, so like I had 2 or 3 people ask me to hang out with them tonight, and I told them no, I'm already over here doing this. That's what I've been on my phone with this whole time.
Oh, I feel so special.
So
But it was even before you. Well, I guess no, because you did start the parties before I actually knew of your existence through the internet. so.
exactly.
Roller skates.
I like the story of how, like, we have actually known each other since, like, 2009, but you kept forgetting me
You've known
every
me.
time.
You've known me.
Dude, you lived, like, a floor below me, and we were always in the lounge at the same
And
time.
I don't remember. I remember the other kid that we talked about too, who was in that same group. I don't remember at all. In fact, they saw me. I saw him at the party, and her roommate looks at him and says, "Hey, this is YOLO over here." And he goes, "Yeah, I know. I remember. I met him years ago." And I was like, yeah, I heard about this already, but I honestly didn't know who you were until like 6 months ago." He was like, "Well, you're an asshole."
but it's whatever.
Whatevers.
But yeah, anyway, so I like to listen to something that just is you want to go crazy to. That's what wakes me up and gets my adrenaline going. What about you guys?
Loud. It's definitely like I do like electronic music, but a lot of times just because of the repetitive beat, it kind of is more relaxing for me than yeah, exactly. Unless somebody drops a bass, then it's just like, oh god, I'm gonna have a seizure. But
that's actually what I tend to love is rock. It's actually become a staple of most songs.
Yeah.
Most songs that are part of that genre in any way. Which a lot of like purists of other genres hate, like house music and trap music and other stuff like that. Dubstep has worked its way into it in some way, and they hate it because they hate Americanized. It's called bro step because people like because there's dubstep that's been around for literally a decade or more in Europe, and it was very literally nothing but low frequency bass. And then people like Skrillex came along, Americanized dubstep that has a lot of that kind of, I guess, screechy. Some people describe it. I don't think it is screechy most of the time, but the screechy mid-frequency sounds that they throw in, and very heavy emphasis on that drop, as you said, has worked its way in. And so if you look at the Wikipedia page about dubstep, there's actually a section for bro step where some purist went in and was like, this shit sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I just enjoy electronic music, but I guess, I don't know, I like more milder versions of the dubstep, or perhaps like the typical drop the bass and integrate it into other works. I guess just because, I don't know, the original one is just, it's intense. I can't handle it.
There's a lot of slower dubstep actually that a friend of mine likes a lot. That incorporates a lot of female vocals. It's not supposed to just destroy you audibly. It's meant to be an expression of bass, I guess you would say, if someone would say that. But I tend to only want to listen to that when I'm trying to relax and still want to hear electronic music.
Yeah.
But also, there's also things like trance that I will listen to.
I fucking love trance music.
Deadmau5 is pretty good about the trance stuff. I like Deadmau5, especially his non-radio edits of stuff, like a song called
Snap Your Fingers.
Damn it, no, fuck, what's it called? Strobe. It's like 11 minutes long, and and I've listened to it in like literally pitch black darkness, and you just listen to it with it blaring through speakers, and it's just you just visualize a light show of some kind, and just it's an interesting experience. But outside of like that specific thing, I don't usually go to trance too much. It's weird. Deadmau5 fucking hates every other type of electronic music.
Which is funny.
Yeah, he's actually an asshole. And his opinions of music in general and how they're used is actually pretty ridiculous. Like he doesn't like remixes. He generally doesn't allow anyone to remix his songs.
Yeah.
Even if it's for free, he will cease and desist you.
Jesus.
There's a band that I like that did a great remix of that song, Strobe, that got taken down. I fortunately have it, but they got taken down because Deadmau5 fucking didn't like that, and so he hates remixes. He feels like every artist ever should have their own, unless it's a remix by the same artist. They should be 100% creative with their own music. DJs in clubs should only be playing their own music. They should not play anyone else's music.
He realizes that every type of music to have ever existed incorporated something else.
Exactly.
Humans recognize patterns, and we particularly favorite some of them, and that is how music spreads.
Yeah, and then he feels, like I said, DJs should have to play their own music, and if they want to play anyone else's music, they should pay for it. They should pay royalties for it in a club or in a bar or anywhere else like that. He just doesn't like. He thinks that they should not be playing his music. There's nothing.
He thinks he's a special fucking snowboard.
And not even just his music, anyone's music. He doesn't like that DJs in clubs play anyone's music but their own, without paying royalties.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It must be nice to have that kind of money to be able to think like that,
Yeah,
or to like have that little respect for the listeners and the fans.
I mean, I thought one of the things about music and perhaps one of the things that attracts a lot of people to music is just the social aspect of it, of, you know, enjoying it with other people
why I love
in
going
the
to clubs.
same within the same environment. So to go completely against one of the foundations of, you know, music and just kind of music integration into the culture is just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting, I guess, idea, but in practice and in reality, it's just incredibly out there. I personally feel like.
Yeah.
But
That's an interesting thing about trying to put together the playlist for parties is I have to make sure I'm playing stuff that everyone's going to like or most everyone's going to like. There's a lot of music I would love to play that I can't play because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't like it. And that's what I love about going to specific clubs like that is they will play stuff. You know, everyone who's there is there for it.
Mhm.
And same with concerts is you feel better about the fact of listening to something that you know everyone else is also enjoying with you.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I really enjoy those environments. I think it's great that they can play all various types of music. It's how you can get exposed to the music too. It's actually more advertising and beneficial to you than it is actually stealing money from you.
Yeah.
Because your
And
music
why
gets
is
out
it
there.
all about the money? That's, I think, one of the things that really if it was all, when it becomes all about the money, then it loses its self-expression and its ability to be artistic.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't, you know, get their dues when they deserve it. I'm just saying, just in general, when money becomes the reason why you make music, and it makes it so hollow, and you can hear it when you play it. It's not like, oh, nobody's gonna know that I'm just doing this because I want some money. No, it's fucking obvious.
And that's what's interesting is Deadmau5, he has this mentality of like, you know, you should only be playing your own music and that kind of stuff. But he still makes great music. Like, I love his music, and it doesn't sound like he's motivated by money.
Which is good.
Yeah,
But I think
but
it
he's
speaks-
just an asshole. And a lot of artists came out against him and were like, "No, you're dumb. We
And it
don't
also
agree with you at
speaks
all."
to a level of economic privilege and whatnot, I think. I mean, not intentional on his part, I'm sure, but it's, you know, when you're poor and you live in the shitty parts of town and whatnot and you're barely making rent, I mean, most people, I think, would consider on some level music a basic human right, kind of because it's a variant of freedom of expression. And it's one of those things you can't get by without.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you always have something playing in your head.
Yeah. Real quick, bring it back. Rock music is usually what wakes me up.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, me being shady speaking, I think is stuff like, for example, have you ever heard any of MIA's mixtapes?
Yes.
Well, you haven't?
I don't know who Maya is.
Oh, she is so good. It's basically, she's electronic. She's electronic, technically.
Okay.
But she raps a lot in the music. And on top of that, like, she was born in the UK, but she lived her formative years in Sri Lanka. She's an ethnic Tamil. And so a lot of her music throws back to that. It's like you'll hear sometimes traditional Tamil drums intermingled with basic, like your typical electronic stuff. And then she'll throw back to like the soundtracks from Bollywood and whatnot. It sounds like it wouldn't be appealing, but it is actually quite well put together. And it wakes you up. It's a rhythm to work by. And then like when she raps, she does really well. Like she's quite original. It's very fluid. It's very natural. She's actually one of the few things I will happily blare upon waking up.
Interesting thing that we were talking about, you know, music as a basic right, and it's just kind of there. You can't avoid it. There's an expression, like it's just something that's ingrained in everyone. There's something that everybody should go look up. It's from, I forget the name of the organization. It's a science organization. They host talks every once in a while. It's not TED, but look up like Bobby McFerrin wows an audience, something along those lines on YouTube, and you'll find it's like a 3-minute clip. What he does is he gets up and he gets in front of the audience and he stands in a spot and jumps, like he kind of bounces in that spot and plays a note. I'm pretty sure it's C, and just like hums that note and gets the audience to mimic him. Then he moves up one, plays a D, and gets the audience to mimic him. And then he just jumps from C to D, and then without asking them to, he jumps to E, and the audience just hums out E. And then he jumps up to G and then back down again to get them into the rhythm of it, and then he starts singing a song because he's his style of music is very vocal. He uses his voice to make a lot of the instrumental noises, and so he starts singing the song and while jumping across the stage to get the audience to do the background humming sound.
Yeah.
And he goes from from C all the way up to G, and then he drops down below, and they follow him perfectly, and it's
That's
incredible
awesome.
how they were able to match that in just a giant conglomerate.
That's really
It's
cool.
a really cool video. In fact, that whole talk is like an hour and a half long. It's amazing. Talks about music and the brain and neuroscience and stuff like that.
That's really cool. Again, that sounds like an Oliver Sacks book. That was actually a very recent one he did. I think it was like 2010 or so.
Yeah, this happened in 2009. This
Yeah.
event.
But it's a question of, it's not just something that we do just because and you profit and whatnot. This is something that humans respond to and always have. As long as the Homo sapien brain has existed, this will continue to be a part of it.
Unfortunately, though, with the contemporary thought of, everything is a business and everything can be made, you can make money off of almost anything. A lot of the original, I guess it would be like a lot of the basics to, how music is made, where music is made, when music is made, why music is made, is all kind of just lost essentially when things like record companies and capitalization sort of come into play with people trying to make money off of their art. And I think that's a difficult thing for anybody in any artistic medium to do, is how do you balance making money and not losing yourself and your artisticness.
And I think
your
also
creativity, I guess would be the word, not artisticness.
I mean, this
Making up words, motherfuckers.
I think one thing that's also lost is just throwing back to where it come from, like your sources and whatnot. I'm not even talking about in terms of legal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's about the cultural movements that spawn the music you're listening to. It's like the controversy over the Harlem Shake videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some of them could be kind of funny, but at the end of the day, Harlem Shake and what spawned it was completely lost in that conversation, much to the detriment of the people who value it and love it so. And, well, this is kind of unrelated, but like, for instance, do you remember the song, Big Pimpin'?
Yeah.
Big Pimpin', Spendin' G, that way?
Mhm.
What no one knows.
I thought you said spending the cheese.
No,
The
Jay-Z.
fuck? No. Yeah,
I was like,
no, but what no
cheese?
one knows is the backdrop for that song, the music you hear in the background. That comes from a man named Abdel Halim Hafez. He was a classical Egyptian singer, opera person, what have you.
Oh,
And that is a musical genre. They're only
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm playing the song in my head. I can
it's
definitely
called
see that.
Hosada. Like, that's the song that it came from. But no one knows this, like no one recognized it. And like, I think that's the interesting part of music. You should be engaged enough to be like, where did this come from and why?
It's actually really cool that you bring that up, because that makes me like the song more, 'cause I actually didn't like that song too much.
Yeah.
Because I actually really love songs, and hip hop and rap I have lately gotten a bad habit of doing this to every song they hear, of taking a song or a basic melody or beat or whatever and repeating it in their own style.
Yeah.
Some of it's really good, some of it's really bad. But I love music that does that remixes a song, or especially one that I know.
You would love, well, one that you know. It's not one that you know, but this you really would love MIA then.
Okay.
Because that is, I'll send you, she has several free mixtapes. I'll send you the links to them.
Okay. But yeah,
She'll make you a mixtape.
like kind of a guilty admission here. Flo Rida is very much a just kind of pop music, club music artist. That's all he makes. That's what he appeals to. But everything that he makes, or not everything, yeah, most everything that he makes is a remix of some other song that he has heard before. Like Good Feeling is a remix of Levels by Avicii.
Yeah.
What's this song? He remixes the You Spin Me Right Round
Oh
record
God,
song.
I
He
hated
makes
that
a
so much.
remix of that. He makes a remix of something else, and I can't. It's lost on me at this point. But he does that a lot, and I actually enjoy that because it does that, even though it's Flo Rida.
Yeah. But I mean, that also brings to a point that I was saying about or trying to say earlier with the idea of commercialization just kind of killing art or things like that. I'm not saying that there aren't going to be people, I guess you could say, like Flow Rider, where it's a party band. It's a music specifically made just to have fun, be ridiculous, and just kind of like all the hair bands in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like Motley Crue. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that those shouldn't exist or, that those wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the commercialization that has kind of happened with all art, specifically within music. But I just think for a lot of people, it is an artistic expression. It is not serious, but it is an expression of emotions. Maybe not for one to connect emotionally to, but at least for the artist to express in some sort of way.
No, I do respect
So, I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't going to be people that just want to have fun and just make a record about, partying and
Shots.
that
Andrew WK.
heroin and whatever.
Andrew WK is nothing but parties.
But I think
I love him.
when it's an issue is not an issue, but when it's frustrating is when you can obviously hear people not even trying to have people who make music without a purpose other than I want money.
Yeah.
Which is what I think is what really
And we're
was seen with like Metallica after the Black Album. And that's why a lot of people like really just lost interest with Metallica itself. It's seen in a lot of pop music today. It's I mean, like the fucking Friday song, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like I think a lot of times the stupidity and the just almost undereducatedness that is directly related to how badly somebody wants money.
Yeah, that's what I was actually about to bring up. It's
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, dude, no, you're totally fine. You nailed it. But it's like this lack of appreciation and education of music.
Yeah, it's
And
a lack of
feels-
desire to make a quality product, and it's just
Yeah.
about quantity and then marketing it in such a way to where you can just get the best return on investment for it.
You know what cracks me up? Like,
Eggs.
always. But,
Sorry,
it
you said
kinda-
crack
it
me
make-
up, and it's like, 2 in the morning, so I just thought of the first thing that cracks, and I was like, eggs!
You got it.
Eggs crack! Ha ha ha!
I win the internet. No,
It's
but
hilarious.
like, you know the MIA song, what's it called? God damn it. All I want to do is boom, 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 boom. What's
Take
it?
your money. or
Yeah,
something.
what's the, God, what almighty, what is the name of that song?
I have no idea.
But,
To the internet.
yeah, to the internet, exactly. But that song is basically, it was inspired by her haggles with immigration in the U.S. Like,
Is that the song that got her kicked out of the U.S.?
I don't know.
Wasn't she like banned for some?
No, but they wouldn't let her mother into the country.
Really?
She was heavily pregnant with her first child, and they would not grant her mama a visa for it. And, hang on just a second, I've got it up here. Oh God, I feel so ashamed right now. How am I forgetting this? Paper Planes. That's what it's called.
Oh.
But
well, I
it's
should have known that.
But basically, that song was inspired by that. Because if you listen to the song, it's like every stereotype that people shoot the shit about on immigrants in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a parody of her experiences on that. It's like, we assume everyone's a terrorist, we assume everyone's a pot dealer, we assume everyone like is forging things to make money who does not look a certain way, who does not sound a certain way. And that has very real effects in things like immigration and how we treat immigrants and how and our policy on letting them into the country. But when they removed the gunshots from it, I found it particularly offensive because what do you think of? You think of that kind of violence, and that was the point.
Yeah.
Like, that was the larger point she was making.
I don't think I've actually heard that song without the gunshots, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's the radio edit of it.
I hate radio edits.
With a passion.
We were talking about, capitalization of music and stuff and how sometimes you're in it. You guys know the artist Lupe Fiasco?
Yes.
Right? So he has a song that came out in 2011, I think, called The Show Goes On, and it's based off of Float On by Modest Mouse. But I really like the song because I like Modest Mouse. I like the song Float On.
So naturally, going along with my whole I like remixes thing. No, but I read up about the song later. He hates that song. He absolutely cannot stand it. The record labels forced him to make that, and most of the album, because he didn't want to do it. He told them, "I don't like this album. I don't want to do it." And they said, "Fine." They said, "No. You either do it this way, or it's not coming out. You're not getting it. Period."
Jesus.
And so he gave interviews later about it. He was like, "Yeah, that wasn't my album. That was the record label's album." And so, yeah, he actually hates that about his music because it wasn't his.
Yeah.
It was written for him, it was produced for him, and all he did was perform because he was told to.
Yeah.
And that's messed up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is not an uncommon thing in today's record industries.
Yeah.
I mean, we have talked about before the part of the point of the record industries to the record companies to be involved with an artist is specifically with a tour, booking the tour, getting everything together, fitting the bill, and that sort of thing. But I just feel like in general it would just be a lot more quality work coming out if musicians didn't have to rely on a record company in order to reach an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a positive thing with the internet that's going on today, and just that sort of networking that people are now able to do is it's beginning to allow people to use it in such a way where they don't have to rely on a record company, hopefully.
Like, for instance, I don't know how true it is, but they said that's how Macklemore came to being. Like, they did not use one of the major record companies, from what I hear.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
basically, so many people requested their shit that, like, the people on the radio did not really have a choice. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a top 10.
Yeah.
There was no way around that. That's one of the things that's beautiful, I guess, about crowdsourcing.
One thing I've liked about electronic music is the most of the labels are run by artists. They were started by artists, and they are very supportive of them because electronic music was not popular. So they had to just do their own thing. And then once it got popular, it was already being run by artists, like Ultra Records. Ultra Records has gotten a little more corporation-ish lately, but they are very supportive. They do a lot of good shit for electronic music, and they host all kinds of shows and concerts and events and things like that to get more people interested. And they make sure that it's available in as much places as possible. And they give a lot of artists freedom to just give out their music if they want to. It's cool. Like I said, they're starting to get a little big. But most of them are on very small labels that are run by some bigger artists that is actually known.
That's good to hear, because a lot of times you just hear negative things about record companies and how they enjoy dicking over other people, and how even record companies that are run by artists will just turn around and do all the things that they didn't like
And
done to them.
It's nice to hear a corrective model. Like, it's nice to hear that there might be a way to reform that in a way that you don't have to break everything down that is good when you take down everything that is bad.
Yeah.
It's encouraging.
To man. Rawr. But man. Did you want to talk about
Oh yeah.
Yo Thang?
It was I had the curiosity question like earlier. Rasputin over here talked about what he likes to hear in music is he tends to listen to epic music and stuff that just feels big and is in some instances just technically challenging,
Mm-hmm.
and it just shows off their skill and that kind of stuff, particularly in guitars. So I was going to ask like what kind of things do you tend to gravitate towards when you listen to music? I mean, there obviously can be outliers and exceptions and whatnot, but what tends to be your general, across genres, what attracts you?
Quality of music.
As in,
They obviously they spent time with it.
Okay.
They cared about it. They actually thought about what they were making. They didn't just shit on a keyboard and say, "Ah, it's my music. Ah, it's gonna be a number one hit." Obviously, someone just hearing that someone actually cared about what they were making. As soon as I hear what sounds just hollow and completely, I lose interest immediately. I'm just like, fuck this. So what interests me is depth and effort in actually creating music.
Okay.
I think, for me personally, It sounds very hipster-like, I'm sure, but it's.
I'm fine.
Alright.
He's just laying on me, and he's very warm.
Yeah, sorry, Rasputin has got a fever and is passed out next to us. But I personally, at the risk of sounding like some sort of hipster stereotype, regionality. Because the thing is, like,
As in not American?
No.
Or what do you mean?
in any respect,
Sorry,
the
I was
thing
not expecting that. You set it up perfectly. I probably would have been like hipster, but you set it up like I don't mean to sound like a hipster.
Because I knew it, just because as much as I detest hipsterism in general. But, like, for instance, this might sound funny for someone who looks like me, but, like, for instance, I loved the soundtrack to Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
That's a good soundtrack.
That was fucking wonderful, and the thing is, with it, that's a very regional form of Southern music. It's not like that blase country bullshit. Like, that is actually the origin of where modern day bluegrass folk and the sorry excuses thereof, that's from whence it comes.
I love that kind of music.
Exactly. And it's like, it's the same thing for liking to hear accents. I mean, yeah, I have a very audible one, but the thing is, I love hearing other people's accents in particular because we're very much of the mindset that American Standard English is how you're supposed to speak. Like, I think...
Fuck that.
Agreed. It's like, I like to hear a level of individualism, a level of history when I hear music. I like to be able to hear not just the music, but from whence it probably came.
Very interesting, because one of the things that actually was introduced to this concept in a German literature course in college was the idea of intertextuality. So it's everything's been said, everything's been done, so the only thing that you can kind of do going forward is to kind of, if everything's been said, everything's been done, the only thing that you can do that makes something new and different is to combine them and combine them in such a way that hasn't already been done before.
Yeah.
So you add something new to it by combining other elements.
Yeah. Like, my favorite thing's always been go back to the roots and listen to it. It's like, you know, a lot of people like modern jazz, but I like hearing the stuff that emerged from Deep South black artists, the people who actually started the movement but never really got credit for it way back when, in the early 20th
Unfortunately,
century.
that's incredibly common
It
in
is.
all genres of
It
music.
is.
Is not giving the original founders credit simply because
It's just
they were African American.
they were African American, or they weren't in the right socioeconomic background,
They were white.
or they weren't of the proper political sentiment.
That too.
Any number of those things. And I think that it's a shame when we lose that, and I think we largely have, and it's heartbreaking. So,
But then again, you've seen that throughout history. I mean, just look at like ancient Greece. They rewrote their history to make them
oh yeah.
sound, or to make them
definitely.
appear more appealing.
But it's like, for me, that's one reason I hate country so much, it kind of quashes what actually the Southern experience was.
Quash
Quash.
is quash like a queef.
You got me. Musical queefs.
Is
But-
musical
What?
squash queefs.
It quashes, like, it swishes, it crushes, it destroys. It very much washes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Go home, YOLO, and think of musical queefs.
That's scary because you know it exists on the internet.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, it washes over and generalizes what was very much a regional, socioeconomic, racial, and historical experience, and you lose that when you lose that in music.
YOLO.
That is an actual word.
Yes.
Quash, to put an end to or suppress or reject is invalid.
You know, I might sound lowerly educated,
No,
but I'm
no.
actually but the thing is, I'm actually quite literate because I didn't have friends growing up and only had books.
Oh, that's funny. That wasn't that I didn't believe it. Just I've never heard the word and I could not
Me
even
neither,
fathom
yeah, I
what
was
its
like, what
actual
does that
definition
mean?
was.
I'm glad he looked it up because I was actually going to look it up.
Oh, I
this
feel
and be
bad
like,
now.
LOL. What is this word?
Well, because I just thought of
It's a fun word. It sounds like queef.
It sounds like it would be an English game of some kind. Because it
Quash.
sounds like, yeah. It's like what?
It sounds like a game full of British
On horses.
with rackets.
So, YOLO. What about you?
Oh, right. I don't actually answer the question.
Yes, you did.
That's okay. I think I did that earlier. I just was
Actually,
like, LOL question. Not even gonna answer it.
I'm gonna receive some flack for my answer. Not their answer, but my examples. I like music that I can pick out instantly. I like bands and groups that have a very distinct, unique, instantly recognizable sound.
Fucking hipster.
So that's
no,
why
I mean that's
No, it's
incredibly
actually-
similar to my answer.
that's why I like Green Day. I do like Green Day. I can pick out Green Day anywhere. I like
agree.
Disturbed. Green Day sounds exactly the same in every fucking song. That's why I like them. Disturbed, same exact thing. Nickelback, I actually have a love and hate relationship with because I can pick out Nickelback anywhere. Their music generally does suck, but for some reason I tend to enjoy it from time to time if I'm in the right mood for it.
We all have our low points, Dale. We won't judge you here.
My electronic music is a little more varied. It's harder to pick out certain. I do enjoy a lot of electronic music that isn't distinct, so to speak. But then at the same time, I have no clue who that artist is, and when I hear that song, I just like the song. But there are electronic artists that I do know. Like I like Skrillex because he's very, very distinguishable. I like Deadmau5 because he's distinguishable. Knife Party is amazing. Stuff like that. So it's just, and then the same in rap. You know, Jay-Z I can pick out immediately. Ludacris I can pick out immediately. Kanye West I can pick out immediately. Even those are some of the ones from like my younger years. The newer artists that I can pick out. Like I can pick out Flow Rider almost instantly. I can't really pick out 2 Chainz too much. It's not easily distinguishable. Eminem, holy shit, fucking love Eminem. And another reason I love Eminem actually is I'm a huge fan of puns. Puns, like it's one of my favorite types of humor and lyrical,
Oh, Lord.
and not even just lyrical, just in general language things. I don't know what you call that.
The ability to play and manipulate with language.
Yes, Eminem excels at that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that he does.
I do really like Eminem for that. I tend to also really like music that has a humorous tone to it. I like Lonely Island's fucking amazing. I listen to Lonely Island and generally enjoy it, or genuinely enjoy it. And then LMFAO, I like a few of their songs because they're just fun.
Like
even,
Shots.
Even though they're not
yeah.
good. Shots and Sexy and I Know It, they're not inherently good music, but they're fun, and I like fun. Dream Theater you can usually pick out anywhere. You can pick out Iron Maiden or Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold or bands like that pretty much anywhere. And I like those too. So it's really just about being able to instantly pick out the music.
And individuality within.
If it sounds similar to everything else I've ever heard, I tend to not remember it and not like it.
Yeah, and that is definitely something
And it like plays
within just. I like a lot of German bands, and a lot of times, and I've said this.
It's the only German band I know, and I fucking love them.
I've actually said this before, like with a lot of the bands, if they're a German band, I don't want to hear them sound like an American band. There is no logical explanation for me to spend excessive money to import a CD or an album I mean, like, this is back in the day. Nowadays, you know, you don't always have to purchase a physical copy. You can actually pay for a digital copy, which, you know, does cut down the cost. But if you want a physical copy, you have to pay excess money just to get it. So why would I want to pay more money if it's going to sound exactly like what I can get here for half the price?
Yeah.
So it's I don't want to hear it sound like everybody else. I want it to be of a higher quality of music, and I don't want you to just copy some other band because they're really popular right now.
And that for me goes into my love of more regional sounds right there. It's like it's a combination of quality, heartfelt, and distinct. It's what music should be, I think.
And queefing.
Oh, of course.
Queefing plus dicks.
That's going to be the name of a band one day, you know that, right?
Queefing dicks.
That or queefing plus dicks, you know, with the actual plus sign.
Queefing Dicks.
God, that's a terrible thought.
If I still played rock band, I'd make a band named Queefing Dicks.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure Stephen Hill still has a set. We can make that happen.
My band name in my current rock band is Superman's Junk.
Really?
Yep. And so like the tour buses and all that stuff have like Superman's junk slapped on the side. It's really funny.
It's hysterical. All right. Well, it's nice and late, and we've had a good good run.
I'd say we did.
Rasputin is already passed out. So I guess you guys want to sign off for tonight?
Sure. YOLO Swagons.
Shady Sadie.
Giselle Noir, and a very sleepy Rasputin as well. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Or hear you next time.
Yeah, something like that.
Imagine you next time
you'll
naked.
hear us is how this is gonna work.
Yes, and all that good stuff. So do you mind? Here. Hand me the mouse of justice!
The mouse of great justice.